see here.
Just gotta see where the volume is on
playing
here. All right, perfect.
Okay, so we are live. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What is happening, YouTube? What's going on, guys? You have tuned into Rules for Rebels, and we got a special guest today. We got Jackknife Finnegan and the I was gonna go for the Finnegang. I don't have a name for my channel, so we'll call my guys the Tiny Squirrels. So we got Jackknife Finnegan and the Finnegang joining us today. Jackknife is a YouTuber. He does a lot of gaming stuff as well as other types of content, some cooking stuff. He's involved in the gig economy, and I discovered his channel a while back. Been following him and love his channel. Real authentic, real guy, and that's one of the things I really like about his channel. So wanted to get him on today, and thank you for joining me.
I appreciate you having me, man. So I'm really excited to be here. So, as I can see, we got a couple people in the chat, which is awesome. Appreciate you guys rocking with us today. Thank you, guys.
What's happening, Jay Capola? Jay's always in here. I met Yoshi and the Phenom yesterday on your live stream, and we had a good chat yesterday. You and I were kind of setting this up, kind of planning this out, and it was kind of funny. I planned on just kind of hopping on with you for 5 or 10 minutes to kind of test the sound, and we wound up kind of going off on all different subjects for probably an hour or more. So yeah, it was a pleasure chatting with you.
Oh yeah, it was fun because I didn't know what to expect because I was sitting there and I was like, all right, I'll talk to this guy, see what he has to say, and he called me up and I'm like, all right, and then we started talking. And I'm like, I was anticipating like a 10-15 minute call because whatever. And then next thing you know, it just goes here, here, here. I mean, we're going everywhere, bouncing all over every topic, and it was a good time. So I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to see what your audience has to say. I'm excited to have my audience come and hang out with you, and see what you have to say. And maybe who knows, this might lead to future endeavors. Who knows? You never know. So
I'm hoping I can make it through the interview today. I've had too many cups of coffee already. I was doing an interview on Monday, and I had to get up in the middle of the interview and run to the bathroom. I was like, "Oh, great!" So hopefully I make it through it today.
Oh, that's fine. I mean, if you got to get up and rest and go there, I'll be a good space filler. I got my sweet water tiki cup, and I'm ready to go. You know what I mean? I'm good to go.
Now, you're from Minnesota.
I am from Minnesota.
Now, you and I were talking yesterday. I don't know if you pick it up on me at all. It's kind of funny. I lived in Minnesota for maybe 5-6 years during elementary school. Left Chicago, moved to Minnesota, and then eventually came back here. But still to this day, I get people asking me, "Where are you from?" And I think it's odd. I wasn't even in northern Minnesota, but I think I picked up a little bit of the "don't you know" kind of Fargo thing while I was up there.
Yeah, you can kind of hear that a little bit. It's kind of weird because you kind of have a little bit of Minnesota. You got that, you got that Chicago, but then you kind of have a tint of out east, which is kind of crazy. You're kind of like you're like all over. It's good. It's a good
I remember,
thing.
I haven't been back to Minnesota in years, but one of my kind of bigger memories from living up there. I remember one. You might remember this as well. I remember it was Halloween, and we had something like 3.5, 4 feet of snow. It was like the craziest snowstorm. And I remember that was the first year that I was like too cool to carry, like the plastic pumpkin thing. I had to bring like a pillowcase, and I remember all my candy got destroyed that year. And the next day we were jumping off my friend's roof into the snow just because it was so high.
It's funny that you mentioned Halloween. I unfortunately was watching the new Halloween that came out. Now, keep in mind, this thing came out on Tuesday, right? This is how Redbox gets you, by the way. I'm letting you guys know right now. I paid $1.87 to rent this stupid video, right? The new Halloween. It's Friday. I still have that stupid thing. So what is that? I probably owe like $8 on this stupid rental when I only had anticipated $1.87. And I watched it, and it's your class. I mean, it's seriously, dude, it's like 1980 all over again. Nothing exciting. I'm just like, oh my God, why did I get this? My wife refused to watch it. She's like, I'm not watching it. So I didn't watch it. And then today I'm like, I'm going to watch it before I go on my interview. I watched it. I'm like, that was the biggest waste of time of my life. I mean, Jesus, don't watch it.
Is that relatively new, or is that an even newer? Because I feel like I saw one maybe a couple months ago.
That might be the one that you might have seen. It was in movie theaters. They just released it on Redbox. It just came out. Now here's the crazy thing about it is guess who had a little bit in the writing on that?
Who's that?
Danny McBride. Now isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's the dude from that '70s show, right?
No. Danny McBride is from the East. What is that? Eastbound and Down. He's from.
The mullet guy.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's like, I'm Kenny Powers. I'm in and you're out. You know what I mean? It was that guy. He actually wrote some of that, and I'm like, what? There wasn't no funny parts, but I mean, the fact that he wrote some of that was kind of odd. And then Jamie Lee Curtis produced some of it, so I was like, wow, that's weird. You know?
Yeah, did you get into Vice Principal or Vice Principals?
Oh yeah, I love that show.
He was
man.
in that. That show was amazing. I like that guy who was kind of his rival in the show. Was great too. I can't think of what else he's been in, but
no, that guy. I don't think I've seen that guy in any other shows other than that show. But that Vice Principal show is hilarious, man.
I was hoping that'd come back on, and yeah, it seems like that one's kind of gone forever.
I know it kind of pisses me off because it was funny. It was good. It was actually one thing I enjoyed from him because you watch Eastbound and Down, and you're like, okay, the first season was great. Second season started out good, then died a little bit. Then it just started getting stupid. And I'm like, oh my God. And then Vice Principals comes out, rejuvenates his career, but then it just dies. I'm like, what the hell, man? That was something I liked, but now, you can't compete with Game of Thrones.
You know what? My girlfriend just got me into that one. I got this weird thing. I think I was telling you yesterday. I can only really get into movies and TV shows that happen in real life. And for some reason, I thought that was going to be a lot of dragons and kind of weird stuff like that. And it's more of kind of a medieval piece. I've actually kind of gotten into that one. I think we're on like season 3 right now.
Yeah. To be honest with you, I have not watched Game of Thrones.
No.
I mean, it might be something up my alley, maybe. I don't know, but it's so hard to get me to sit down and watch a TV show, man. It is so hard. Like, I pass out or I get bored, and I'm just like, ugh.
We know my girlfriend's family is real into like the comic book movies and horror movies, and I hate those. So what I really like now is a lot of these movie theaters by us. They got the reclining leather loungers and things like that. So if we go to something I don't want to see, I just kick the lounger back and take a 2-hour nap.
Yeah, I don't blame you there at all.
Did you see that new Netflix was it Bird Box with Sandra Bullock?
It's kind of crazy, kind of a crazy story. When that first came out, another live streamer came into my chat and he's like, hey, I want you to watch Bird Box. I want you to do a review on it because I want to hear you do a review on it because your reviews are funny. And I'm like, okay, cool. But I thought he was doing some weird joke, so I just blew it off. And it kind of makes me mad because I should have listened to him because 2 days after, the thing exploded. People are doing Bird Box challenges. People are doing this and that. And I'm like, damn it, I should have listened to him. I should have covered it, but I didn't listen to him. And I'm like, man, and I totally missed the boat. But my wife watched it. I did not watch it. I still got to watch it, but I guess it's crazy. I mean, and then on top of that, some idiot in Utah actually drove doing the Bird Box challenge and smashed right into another vehicle. And man, what a mess. But oh my God.
It's funny. I was thinking about you because when we were talking yesterday, you had told me that you started the podcast doing kind of interesting news stories and things like that. And I happened to see that same story with, a lot of police departments are having to put out PSAs about don't drive blindfolded. And everyone's trying to Bird Box challenge. I see people at the gym, trying to do power lifts with the blindfolds on. And
it's sad. It's sad. Now, speaking of when you're talking about cops, you want to hear a crazy story? This is a true story. And God, I don't remember what state it's in, but this is a true story. A Dunkin' Donuts truck explodes down the highway, gets into an accident and gets into a fire and everything. And it's in Kentucky. It's in Kentucky. And the cops were actually photographed and caught on live camera crying that the Dunkin' Donuts van was exploding. Like, they're crying, legit. And then a week later, Dunkin' Donuts came over and gave the whole department a bunch of free donuts, and they were all, like, happy, rejoicing. And I'm like, only in Kentucky you would see something like this. Like, what the hell is this about?
Now do you guys have Dunkin' up in Minnesota?
We had Dunkin', we lost Dunkin', we got Dunkin' back. So Dunkin' is now back in Minnesota.
Well, it's funny. I'm addicted to Dunkin' Donuts. I've been trying to kind of cut myself off and do Keurigs at home more. But yeah, when I travel, like if I'm visiting my parents in South Carolina, I go crazy not being able to go to a Dunkin' Donuts for a week.
Yeah, South Carolina, dude. South Carolina, North Carolina, they don't know anything about the health epidemic. They rock Dunkin' Donuts. They rock Krispy Kreme.
We
they
my
rock
sister my sister's out in
grits.
Ohio. They're big on Tim Hortons out there.
Mm, yeah, which is crazy because isn't Tim Hortons a big Canada brand?
Yeah, when I
Or
was
is
up in
that
Canada, man, that stuff's all over the place. And oddly enough, they
yeah,
put American bacon on everything, and we put Canadian bacon on everything.
that is odd. Maybe that's the trade deal we got.
Right. Now, how far are you from? I heard you yesterday saying you never been to Canada. How far? You're probably pretty close, no?
I actually looked it up from here to Winnipeg, Canada. I am actually only 7 hours away from Winnipeg, Canada, from
Okay.
where I live. So that's not a bad drive. I mean, from here to Chicago, I'm a 5 hour drive. From here to Winnipeg, a 7 hour drive.
Oh, you're only 5 hours from Chicago?
I'm only 5 hours, man.
Okay, that's not bad at all.
No, not at all.
Yeah, when I was a kid, like I said, I left there when I was probably in fifth grade or something like that. So I maybe went back a couple times in middle school to visit, but yeah, it's been too long. I gotta get back up there. But as a kid, the drive always seemed so much longer. So yeah, that's good to hear. It's only like 5 hours. I may have to swing up there and do Mall of America, catch a ball game or something.
Well, yeah, absolutely. And then just in here, I'm just looking at the chat real quick. We got a guy from Backseat Driver. Boston is the home of Duncan.
I
I
never
just
knew
I,
that.
I didn't know that either. I'm gonna have to check that out and see if Boston is the home of Duncan. I don't know where Duncan originated, but Backseat Driver said it came from there. So that is interesting. But yeah, I apologize, you guys. We're not really looking at the chat. We will get to the chat eventually. But shout out to the 16 people watching. If you guys are watching, hit that like button. I would greatly appreciate that. Smack that sub button to Rules for Rebels and Jackknife Finnegan if you could. I appreciate that. I'm sorry that is part of that's when you live stream. That is what you do. You know what I mean? That's the whole kit and caboodles.
Now, let's talk a little bit about your YouTube channel. So, I've noticed I saw a couple people commented to me last night that they saw the interview and they were actually already subscribers to you. But for anyone who doesn't know about you or what your channel's about, you want to kind of tell them what the focus of your channel is and.
Yeah, I mean, the focus of my channel is chaos. No, I mean, it's pretty much anything and everything. It's what interests me. It's what I like to do. The funny thing is, when I started YouTube, I was actually just going to do gig economy. I was going to do Amazon Flex, DoorDash, and Shipped, and share my experiences and my vlogging of that experience each and every time. That's what I was going to do. And then one day I sat down, and I love video games. I've been playing video games since 1985. You know, when I got the first Nintendo. I've been playing video games for a long, long time. And so I was playing them. And one day I'm like, I'm just going to go live with, South Park. So I go live for a couple hours, no viewers, nothing. And I'm like, okay, whatever, it's fine. I didn't really expect much out of it anyway. And then one day I did GTA 5 and I did a big no-no to live streamers. This is a big no-no. I went in, there was a whole lobby filled with people. I turned the mic on to everybody in that lobby and I said, hey, look, I'm a YouTuber. Do you guys want to play with me and help me out? If not, that's fine. And I guess that is a big no-no because when you tell people you're a YouTuber, they go after you and they DDoS you. They do anything they can to destroy you. But me, I got lucky. I got about 10, 11 good people. And from there, it just exploded. I mean, it was insane. And then I just kept doing live streams on video games because I'm like, why fix what isn't broken? You know what I mean?
No, I noticed a lot of my audience is some of them are just getting started with YouTube, and I've noticed a lot of people who maybe traditionally wouldn't have thought of doing YouTube are like, it's something they want to get into, they want to try it. And you've been doing it. I think you said only like 6 months. You already got a couple thousand subscribers. I mean, I can tell you have a really engaged audience from the comments and things like that. Well, what do you think? We were talking yesterday. I read an article about the thousands of gamers streaming to nobody, and all these people spending hours a day and they have no audience. So what do you think put you on? You think you kind of got lucky with the that shout out in the thing, or do you think it's kind of the way you approach people, or?
To be honest with you, I got extremely lucky. I'm an extremely lucky person. I'm a knock on wood because I'm saying that, but I mean, it's an oversaturated market. It's oversaturated. I would never encourage people not to do it. I think everybody should try it because you never know. But in reality, it is an oversaturated market. You got to realize new games come out. People are buying them. They're already covering them. Some people get the games a week in advance. They're already covered the game. I mean, it's oversaturated, and it's a tough market to succeed in. If you're like a young kid and all you have is school, no job, no responsibilities, then you might succeed. You might actually do something. But if you get a kid or someone that's like 18, just starting out life, just trying to get responsibilities, just trying to get a job and manage life, they're going to lose themselves in doing live streaming because life's going to take over, or live streaming is going to take over, and then you're going to come to that part of the road where it's like, well, what do I do? You know what I mean? Do I go this way? Do I go this way? And chances are you're going to go down the life path, and live streaming is going to collapse. Where me, I'm 35 years old. I already got life. You know what I mean? I got a wife. I got kids. I got a house. My life's already set. I could do this all day long. You know what I mean? And no effect will come out of it. Where some of these kids, I mean, it's a longevity game. You know what I mean?
Well, you know what's kind of cool about YouTube is I think, if you have something that you're passionate about or something that you like to do, regardless if anyone's going to watch it or not, if you kind of put yourself out there and start doing it, you never know if it's going to take off. And with the saturation thing, there's only one Jackknife Finnegan out there. So, I don't really watch any other gamers, but because of the way that you kind of present your stuff and I think anybody has a chance to potentially break out, which is kind of neat about YouTube.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm fortunate because when people watch me, they're like, man, you're my favorite YouTuber. I only watch you. I mean, I have people that just don't watch gaming at all, but they came over from gig economy and they actually watch my gaming because they think it's hilarious. They like how I manage my chat. They like how I'm engaging, this and that. And I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but back to what my channel is about is like, I like to do cooking tutorials because a lot of these live streamers, they don't eat healthy. A lot of them, they'll live stream for like 10 hours and not eat and damn near die. And it's like, dude, I'm going to show you guys how to make easy, simple, set it and forget it meals so you guys can eat so you're not dying out here. And very simple meals you guys can make. It's very simple. And I do that. And I try showing you guys how to save money. I try teaching you guys what makes money, what's worth your time. And then on top of that, I do funny videos because I'm kind of like a comedian. A lot of people say I'm a comedian, and I like doing very funny things, and that's my thing. That's my shtick as well. But I mean, my channel is overall to help everybody out. That's what it's about. So.
Now, Saturn was asking, do you recommend, if somebody wanted to start a gaming channel, do you recommend people start with popular games like Fortnite, or is it better to kind of get into a niche or just kind of play what you enjoy playing? Or
Okay, now this is going to be a pretty lengthy answer, and I appreciate the question, Saturn. That is an awesome question. Now, I'm going to give you the real facts of this because I will never lie to you guys. That's not what I'm about. I'm always the real person. I'm a real person. I'm going to be real with you. But Saturn, now let's say if you start Fortnite and let's say you build a fan base, you're stuck on Fortnite for the rest of your life. I'm not kidding you. I kind of ran into that problem with GTA 5. I started on GTA 5. It's hard to get viewers on other games because all they know you as is a GTA 5 guy. So if you start on Fortnite, you better be realizing that you're going to be on there for a while. You're going to be on that thing a lot. Now, if you start on a game that you love and a game that you could play for hours and days and months and years, then you're set. You're good because then it doesn't matter. But actually, retro games are getting a big push right now. GTA San Andreas is getting a push. GTA Liberty City. You're also getting people playing Sega Genesis games. Them are getting pushes. I mean, retro gaming is in. A lot of people think it's dead, but it's not. Retro gaming is in. And the reason why I say retro gaming is not dead is because look at what's coming out in a week or two. Resident Evil 2, the remake. A game that came out back in, early 2000, late 90s, and they're remaking it. Obviously, retro gaming is not dead. Mortal Kombat 11 coming out. Mortal Kombat's been out since, 1992? And they're making Mortal Kombat 11 retro gaming. It's not dead. A lot of people overlook the fact, you don't have to go out and get the latest and greatest game to be number one. You could rock whatever you got, and if you're good at it and you have a personality and you're entertaining, then I think you'll succeed. I mean, you can literally
what's funny about the retro gaming thing. I know we chatted about this yesterday. And I was telling you about I got a place near me, and I know a couple of my people are in Chicago, but a spot out here called Galloping Ghost, kind of referring to the Pac-Man guys. And I was telling you that 600 games in there. They have the whole crew from Mortal Kombat, who the characters were based on, come in all the time. A lot of the video game records are set there. But yeah, every Monday, every Tuesday, they get a new game. $20, all you can play. And man, I run through there playing all the Mortal Kombats, Rampage, Simpsons, X-Men, old games. I don't know if you remember that Tapper game where you had to slide the beers across. But they actually got the old console where they actually got the bar thing for your feet and you're sitting up there at the bar. And yeah, I see guys bringing in tripods and, recording kind of over their shoulders and things like that. So yeah, it seems like that's kind of making a resurgence.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. When I go to Chicago, that's the first place I'm going. I'm not going to lie. I'm kind of bummed out that I didn't know about that. It kind of really bums me out because that's right up my alley. I love old arcade games. And then if you ever seen Wreck-It Ralph, the second one, they do actually go to the Tapper place, and they're sitting there drinking the root beers and slide them across the table. Obviously, in the game it's beer, but over there in their world it's root beer because it's a Disney movie. So obviously you can't be drinking beer, but it was interesting. I can't wait. I'm excited to go there. And only $20. What a steal of a deal, bro! My God.
Now, when people do like the Sega, how are they actually streaming that? Is it just over the shoulder, or can you actually connect your smart TV to the internet, or what are people doing for that?
It's funny that you say over the shoulder. The only reason why I say that's funny is actually, believe it or not, I've seen about 4 or 5, probably a handful of channels where people are legit with their phone, setting it up to the side, recording their TV, and I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it works because it gets some viewers. They got me to watch.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I didn't watch for a long period of time. It's just the fact that I watched, and I was entertained by how they had it set up, and I'm like, oh my God. But no, if you're gonna do retro gaming like Super Nintendo, PC gaming, Sega Genesis, all those type of things, you do need like a Elgato, a capture card. And what that does is it allows you to plug it into the capture card, then plug it into your computer, and then you can stream that way. Because what it'll do is capture your TV and reflect it to the computer, and then shoot it out to the YouTube signal. But if you have like a PlayStation 4 and you're playing off of that, or Xbox One, you can do it directly from the console. So
that's something I was going to ask you about too, because I've actually had some people approach me, who are wanting to start channels about the gaming thing, and I was telling you yesterday, my nephews were wanting to start a channel, and I haven't had a system since Xbox 360, so I'm a little bit kind of out of the loop with that. But you said it's pretty easy to set up. The system's actually almost kind of like a Roku now, have something built in. You just connect your YouTube and I'm assuming click go live or something like that.
Yeah, on there it's like on the PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One, it's pretty much it's click and go. When you get on the screen, you go there, you got Twitch over here on the left, you got YouTube on the right. So if you're a Twitch streamer, you just click it and it goes to Twitch. If you're a YouTube streamer, you click YouTube and it goes there. And it's really handy how that works. Excuse me, by the way. But it's super handy because it's just a click and go type of thing. You just, boom, you're live. And now the whole world can see what you're doing. And it's so simple. I mean, it's just crazy to me.
Now, are you YouTube and Twitch, or are you primarily YouTube?
I am YouTube. I did go over to Twitch a little bit just to see what it was about. I think I have like 6, 7 followers over on Twitch, but I've only been to Twitch one time. So to have that amount of followers on one time is pretty crazy. But I'm mainly YouTube. I like YouTube. It's a very easy platform for me. It's very simple. I think once I get a computer and I get a real life gaming PC, I'm gonna jump over to Twitch and just see what happens. Obviously, I'll still rock on YouTube. But if you could dominate on both platforms, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not take advantage of YouTube, take advantage of Twitch? Because at the end of the day, I am my own brand. I am Jackknife Finnegan. YouTube does not own me. Twitch does not own me. I own myself, and I'm responsible for my own content. You know what I'm saying? They don't make my content.
Is there a different dynamic between YouTube and Twitch in terms of like what people like to see, or what the audiences are like, or who does well in there?
Huge. Oh, it's huge. Yeah, absolutely. When you're doing YouTube, and now this is where I benefit on YouTube. Like if you remember, well, you don't remember, but Yoshi told me, one time I was having a talk with Yoshi. I talk to Yoshi once in a while via messages, but I talked to him once, and he said, on YouTube, people go there to watch cat videos. They go there to watch gaming. They watch all types of shit on YouTube, right? Excuse me. And that's where I benefit, because I do all types of things. I'm all over. And that's YouTube platform. Where when you're on to Twitch, it's pretty much gamers. It's nothing but gamers. and people that, like in real life streamers, but mainly just gamers. So, I mean, Twitch is straight gaming in a retrospect, but YouTube, it's all over the board. I mean, you could do a video, chihuahuas, cooking, gaming, and it's all accepted. Where if I went over to Twitch and I did a chihuahua video, they would be like, "What the hell are you doing?" They'd probably kick me off the platform.
I really like some of that in real life streaming is hilarious. I know we were talking a little bit yesterday, but I'm a big fan of that Asian Andy. He does some funny stuff. But yeah, that in real life streaming is pretty good.
The in real live streaming is awesome if you have a great setup. Now, I've seen people literally that go on Twitch with their phone and they do their live streaming with no overlays, no nothing, no special anything, and it's just like, oh my god. But then again, I can't knock it because why am I watching it? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah.
Like that's where you got to come to the conclusion of why am I watching this? You know what I mean? Like, I mean, if I'm watching it, they're doing something right. You know what I mean? In my opinion.
We know that if anyone who's watching kind of has an interest in kind of dabbling with some of this stuff, I know you and I had talked about this a little bit yesterday. I'm not super familiar with it, but that Streamlabs has an app on your phone, and they let you do a lot of cool stuff with overlays and tip boxes and all different kinds of features. I still got to play around with it a little bit more, but it seems like that's kind of the way to go if you want to do the really any kind of live streaming and kind of add a little bit more flair than just what YouTube gives you.
See, now I've tried that. I do have it downloaded on my phone. I just can't get it to work. I don't know how to make it work with my mobile. So if you figure it out, or if anybody in the chat has figured it out, please message me because I really want to know.
You know what? Have you connected your did you go into YouTube and get your API key from like the stream thing and plug that into the app and it's still not going?
Yeah, I did that. And I tried to do the remote play, but I couldn't figure it out. Maybe it's above and beyond my pay grade, but I couldn't figure it out.
Oh, you're on a Mac. I got another buddy. There's a guy by the name of Brian. He's got a channel, Bounce Back B. He's like one of the newer but really fast growing kind of prison channel. But I was trying to help him get set up with it, and he's got a Mac, and he was sending me screenshots, and yeah, his interface and everything is completely separate than or completely different from what I got. See, I'm not really sure how to get it going on a Mac, but I'll have to try to dig into that.
Yeah, Streamlabs does not like Mac. I don't know why. Like Streamlabs will give you like the dumbed down version on a Mac, but it's like, man.
Yoshi said you need to have Streamlabs in your PC. Use the scan code to scan the code in your PC from mobile.
Yeah, Yoshi's a very intelligent individual. If you ever get a chance to talk to that guy, I mean, if you ever sit and watch him do a Red Dead Redemption video or a GTA 5, you'd swear the guy wrote the damn game. He is insane.
Now, let me ask you this about gaming. As somebody outside of the gaming community, I was huge into games, as a kid and even up until, a few years back. And I just didn't wind up buying a new system. And then, a couple of years passed and I never really got back into it. But I remember as a kid, man, like, whether it be Nintendo or later on Sega or I remember Cruising USA for 64. I used to hate when it wasn't my turn. And, you're like, your buddies are playing a football game. You're like, oh, I got to wait for these fucking idiots to finish playing so that it's my turn. How do you think gaming took off when every kid hated watching their brothers or sisters or their friends play, but everyone's going online to watch people play?
I don't even know how that happened, man. I don't even know. Because what's funny is before I live streamed, I never watched people play video games ever in my life. And the funny thing is, one night I was bored. It was like 4 a.m. and I'm like, I had nothing to do. I'm on YouTube. And for some reason, I'm going down the rabbit hole of YouTube, which gets dangerous.
Right.
But I'm going down it. And I see this guy live streaming GTA 5. So I click on it and I'm watching it. And I'm asking him questions. And, and I'm like, well, hell, I could do this. Why don't I try this? And then I tried it, and I was doing it for like a month. I've never watched anybody play live streams ever in my life. And all of a sudden, I'm like, now I'm watching it all the time. And I'm like, why am I watching this? Like, but I think what it is the fact that you can go over to a place and, you got the game in the background. That's great. You got something to watch if you get bored. But I think it's the interaction. I think it's the fact that I could go to Yoshi's live streams and I could say, hey, man, what's up? And he's like, hey, Jack Knight, he's talking to me while he's playing the game. So it's almost like I'm hanging out with my buddy in the living room, watching him play his game, and we're talking. Or if you go to like, any other, you go to, you come to my live streams and it's like a bar scene. You know what I mean? Everybody comes to the bar and they're like, "Hey, Jack," and I'm like, "Hey, Phenom," and "Hey, Outlaw," "Hey," you know what I mean? Like we're all like a big family or a big group of weirdos, and that's what I love. You know, it's like a big bar, and yeah, we get a couple randoms that come staggering in, and they hang out, and maybe they'll come back, or we get some people that start a bar fight, and we kick them out, and you know, it's like a big bar, bro. It's crazy. It's fun, but you know, I think that's what it is. It's the engagement.
That's what Marine was saying. The commentary. Are you familiar with a gamer by the name of Luna?
No, I'm not.
No, he for some reason I don't know how I don't know if I'm subbed to him or if he just gets recommended a lot, but it's a younger guy, and I don't watch a ton of his stuff, but his kind of catch or whatever is every day it's some kind of crazy different story. So my teacher almost caught me smoking weed, or I smoked weed with my grandma, or how I got suspended, I got arrested at Taco Bell, and I can see how it would be entertaining to some people, but I'm like, man, this guy has to have either the worst luck or the craziest life of all time, because every day there's some like insane different story. But he was one of the kind of the earlier kind of gamer people that I kind of became aware of. I think he's got a pretty large audience.
Well, I'm sure he does, especially with those racy topics and being a young person. I mean, you got to realize too, in the gaming market, you get a lot of young kids. You got like a lot of my followers, a lot of my subs are in school right now. You know, so we're not, you know. But if we were on like a holiday break and we did something like this, it'd be chaos. Or if we were on like after school time, it'd be chaos. But in the gaming thing, it's a very young crowd. So you know, if he's a younger guy, obviously they're going to relate to this guy, and he should have
Right.
a huge following. You know what I mean?
Now, I know we were talking Nintendo a little bit ago. Wasn't it Nintendo was the first system that you ever had?
Nintendo was the first system. Yep, and I've also dabbled in Atari, but I did not own Atari.
You know, I'll tell you, I remember when I was real young, my dad had got you remember Intellivision? You know what that
No,
is?
I don't.
I
No.
forget who made it. I saw one at the flea market recently. It was actually like prior to Atari, and there was like it was pretty much just like a TV remote with like a twist knob. And I think one of the games was where the ball goes back and forth and you got to move your guy. But this was like pre-Atari. And I was almost going to pick one up. We got a big flea market here outside of the Allstate Arena, which is like a big concert and kind of sports arena. And they'll always have old consoles, but they always want way too much money for, $150 or something. So if I could find a cheap one, I might pick one up. But I remember we had an Intellivision, and I remember getting my first Nintendo.
Oh my God.
What were your games? I was kind of I always liked the sports games, but I was always kind of Excite Bike, Blades of Steel, Tecmo Bowl, RBI Baseball.
Now I'm gonna get real with you on here. Not a lot of people know about Jackknife Finnegan. Not a lot of people know about my life, but you know, like I told you, I'm an open book. I have no problem with what I talk about, what I discuss. But when I first got my Nintendo, my dad was in prison. Right, my dad was in prison from the when I was 4 years old until 14 years old. My dad was in prison, right, and so I was in prison. My dad was in prison. I woke up one morning. And to this day, it's the best Christmas of my life, bro. The best one of my life. I woke up, there was a giant Zuba neon green beanbag. And then I dug through all the presents. And I'm thinking, why do I got this beanbag? You know, we lived in a housing project. I'm like, why do I got this beanbag? And we had a small ass TV. It was ridiculous. I'm ripping through the presents. Boom, Nintendo right there. And I'm like, what? What? I'm like, because my mom was on welfare. I'm like, how the hell did we get? I didn't ask. I wasn't gonna ask. I'm like, hey, we got a Nintendo. I'm not saying nothing. I ain't saying shit. And I'm like, oh my God. And I open it up. I got Super Mario Brothers that came with the game at Duck Hunt. And then I'm going through the presents. Super Mario 2. I'm like, oh my God. And then I'm like, oh, this is amazing. Punch Out. Oh my God. Like I was freaking out, crying. I was crying. And then after that, I opened up more presents. I got Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Sewer Bus. I got the sewer. I got all, man, that Christmas. I don't know if my mom robbed a bank. I don't know what happened. But, dude, I had everything. It was insane.
You
And,
know
and
what's
it
funny
was,
about you talking about Zubas? Me and my girlfriend went by my parents' house for dinner the other night, and we were going through some old pictures. And there's a picture of me and my dad sitting on the stoop in Minnesota Vikings Zuba pants.
oh, my God. Dude, Zuba Pants. You know who brought Zuba Pants to the scene, right?
Was it MC Hammer or?
No, no, no. MC Hammer was Parachute Pants. Who brought Zubas to the scene was the Road Warriors. which were a wrestling tag team,
Okay.
Animal and Hulk, and they actually came out. They actually came out of Minnesota. So Zubas originated in Minnesota.
I remember Zubas were big. I was actually
They're
just looking
coming
on eBay.
back.
Are they remaking them, or is it just people buying old vintage ones?
No, they're remaking them. So the vintage, don't buy the vintage because they are remaking them. So
I was just looking on eBay the other day to see if I could find like an old, an old pair of Zubas or whatever.
oh my god, that'd be so amazing.
Now, how about Sega?
Well,
Did you wind up having a Sega as well?
I ended up getting a Sega as well. I rocked the Nintendo for a good, solid 3-4 years. Sega Genesis came out, and I fell in love with Altered Beast. I thought that game was amazing. I loved that game. And then guess what came out on the scene after Altered Beast? Street Fighter 2, Mortal Kombat. I'm like, oh my god, Sonic the Hedgehog. My mind is exploding at this point. I'm like, oh my god, 16 bits. Then Doom comes out. Doom comes out on 32X, which all 32X was a little installment that went onto the Sega Genesis and gave you 32X graphics. And I played Doom, and I thought I was fucking new age, man. I'm like, oh my god. Like, I was freaking out. And then after that, I played 3DO. That had the most realistic fighting game known to man. And then, more so than Mortal Kombat. And then Sega CD comes out, Sega Dreamcast, Sony PlayStation. Then after that, I was done. Sony PlayStation, I was done. They sold me, and I've been rocking Sony PlayStation ever since. So,
do you remember that Sega game? I remember it was pretty advanced for the time. It was like some type of police shooting game where it was 2-player. When you rented it from Blockbuster back in the day, they'd rent the gun to you as well, and like one person drove and shot, and the other person would just shoot. I
know what you're talking about. I want to say it was like VR something. It was VR Cop or some shit like that. I think I know
they did that, and then they did a spin-off, which was kind of a Wild West one of that, I think, as well.
I remember them, but I don't know the name of them because I played the damn games. But I remember Area 51 when that came. I mean, it was an arcade game, and it was amazing, but they made that for, like, I think Sony, and my God, I was addicted to that thing. I was sitting there all day long. I mean, it was amazing. It was a good time.
Yoshi was just brought up something interesting that we were kind of chatting about yesterday, and I was going to get into at some point, is a Lethal Enforcer. My man Jay Coppola just threw it out. Lethal Enforcer is a game.
Okay, yeah.
And I was... Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say shout out to Jay Coppola for calling out the game. I appreciate that.
There's another game. I forget what it's called. I was talking about that old arcade, and I went in there, and they had, I don't know if it was called like Tango and Cash or something. They did have Narc, but there was another game where it's a sit-down, and one person drives, and the other person shoots. I think it might have been called Tango and Cash, but I was playing that one at the arcade the other week as well.
Oh, that would be insane. You remember Tango and Cash, the movie? Oh, man, that was when action movies were action movies.
I saw Yoshi was saying on YouTube that there's a niche for everything. And I know you and I yesterday were talking about some weird YouTube niches. So I don't know if any of you guys in the comments want to throw out some, but I know you mentioned you have some followers who eat fast food or stuff their faces with fast food, and that's kind of
mukbang.
Mukbang. See, you got mukbang. I actually did a video about this a while back. I know there's kind of a big thing where like skinny Japanese kids eat like ungodly amounts of noodles. You got, what's the one where girls whisper really softly into the microphone and scratch things? ASMR.
Really? That's a real thing?
Oh, you never heard of that?
No.
It's super weird. Like people debate whether it's like sexual or not, but it's all attractive women, and they'll sit there and like whisper into the microphone, and then they'll like rub their nail, like, I'm rubbing my nail on sandpaper. I'm rubbing my nail on. It's really fucking weird, but it's like a huge YouTube niche.
That's funny. I didn't know anything about that.
Yeah,
the only niches I've seen, like I said, was that mukbang, which is weird. I haven't really come across any out of the norm, stuff. I haven't really traveled down that rabbit hole yet, which makes me nervous.
Yeah, it's funny. I think people are either YouTubers or not even in the sense of creating videos, but like either you're into YouTube or you're not. I think it was Thanksgiving. I was outside with my girlfriend's brother. We're smoking a little joint and just talking about stuff. And I said, you know how sometimes you start watching YouTube and next thing you know, like 6 hours have gone by and you're like, what the fuck am I watching? And he looks at me and he's like, absolutely not. I've never done that. And I was
I've
like,
done
yeah, I
that.
think you're either into YouTube and you're the type of person to kind of go down those wormholes, or it's just not your thing.
Yeah, I mean, well, because I mean, you sit there and you look up an issue, and it's crazy. Like, let's say, like this happened to me before. I was looking up how to do the blower motor on my car, right? Because it went out, so I wanted to learn how to fix the blower motor of my car. So I'm watching the blower motor on my car. 3 hours goes by. I'm watching fucking Goofy cartoons. Like, I'm like, how does that work? Like, where does this go? Like, how does I'm just like, what in the hell? I mean, I just couldn't get it. It was crazy.
But that's what's so weird about this YouTube algorithm is like they know you better than you know you. Because I'll sit down. I'm really into like documentaries and things like that. I watch a lot of different stuff, but especially like documentaries. And I'll sit down and watch one thing, and I wind up on something totally different. But it's nonetheless it's something that still kind of interests me, and it's crazy how YouTube knows what to suggest for us.
Oh yeah, they know. They're watching. They're always watching. Even when you don't think they're watching, they're watching. I mean, these
Right.
guys, they know what's up. They're not dumb. But I mean, it's just crazy. I mean, another thing too, I don't know if you paid attention or read this in the news today, but you remember the Motorola Razor?
Oh yeah.
They're bringing that back as a smartphone.
I think I heard about that. I've been kind of getting into like old '90s stuff. Just kind of remembering different things, and I've been posting some stuff on my Instagram. I actually had you remember the Sega Portable or whatever that, or the Sega Go Anywhere, whatever that thing was.
Oh, the Game Gear?
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
I remember
saw an
that.
old ad for that, and then the other one that I just posted the other day. Saw this old like Circuit City ad, which Circuit City, that's a throwback in itself. But you remember the Motorola StarTax?
Yep.
That was like the first tiny smartphone that everybody had. So yeah, I've been getting kind of into. Jay Capola said 1,500 for that new Razor.
Oh, damn, really? Wow. I mean, I remember I only paid like $300. I thought I was a badass. It had like the snakes, like a snake drawing on the side. It was like gunmetal, and I'd be like, "Oh, I got a phone call." I'd flip it open. I'd be like, "Hey, man, what's going?"
I remember a while
Oh,
back, my girlfriend was getting nostalgic for a BlackBerry. She was like, my old BlackBerry was my favorite phone ever, and so I found one for like $19 on eBay. I bought it for her. That lasted about 2 days, and she was, "Fuck this, I'm going back to my smartphone."
dude, they're so hard to go back to when you're used to having the information at the palm of your hand, and to go back to like a flip phone, you're like, "What the hell?" Like you feel lost. You're like, "What do I do with this?" You know what
Would
I mean?
Did you see? I think it might still be running for a couple days. I actually did a video a couple weeks ago. Vitamin Water is actually having a contest. It'll give you $100,000 if you can ditch your smartphone for a year. And you
Oh.
got to. I think you might have until maybe January 21st, January 25th to apply. I got a video that's got the hashtag you need to drop and the link or whatever it is. If anyone's interested, they can search for that. But it's I guess at the end they give you a polygraph test to see if you really went smartphone free for the year.
Damn, that would actually be interesting, but I couldn't do it. As a YouTuber, you can't do that. You can't do it unless you
But
want your channel to die.
I was trying to think like how would that affect you? I was trying to think what apps like you couldn't order food from any of the Grubhubs or any of the apps like that. GPS you can't. I guess you'd have to go buy yourself a Garmin or something. Yeah, I was trying to think of like all the stuff that you wouldn't be able to. You couldn't do Instagram. Instagram's for the most part not really for the computer.
Nope, you couldn't do Snapchat, you can do Twitter, you couldn't do live streaming. I mean, you could, but then you're not going to know your chat or anything. You're just going to be sitting there playing the game, and people be talking to you, just be like, eh, and it'd be a mess.
Now, let's talk a little bit about the gig economy because that's actually what kind of turned me onto your channel. And I know when you were talking yesterday, you were saying like half my audience is gig economy, half my audience is gaming, and you were trying to figure out what the other missing percentage down the middle was. But the what gig economy stuff have you done, and kind of how did you get started with the gig economy stuff?
Actually, I do right now. Well, I did Amazon Flex, and that was the only one I did because that was actually a lucrative business. And then that went into a whole bunch of shit. They fired me, rehired me, fired me, rehired me, and now they rehired me, and it was a big mess. But then I got into DoorDash because someone told me that was a lucrative business. And then I got into Shipped because I was like, well, shit, why, it was one of those things where I kind of fell behind on bills. You know what I'm saying? I fell behind on bills, And I felt guilty about that because my wife works her ass off. She works all the time. Me, I only work part-time. And that's just because we have kids and our schedules and so on and so forth. But I fell behind on bills and I felt guilty. So I'm like, well, what am I going to do to get this money back? Because I feel like an asshole. You know, we're always, you know, my wife wants to do these things. We can't do them because, you know, we're tied up in all this other shit. So what am I going to do to get myself out of this rut is what I thought. And one of my buddies at work told me, hey, try Amazon Flex, see what happens. So I got into Amazon Flex. I was making, you know, easy $800 a week, getting paid twice a week. So 400 on Tuesday, 400 on Friday. So I'm like, holy shit. And I hit it hard. I went ham on that thing. I was getting $800 tax free. I mean, now I got to pay for it and file taxes, but I did all my proper prep work for that. But I got ourselves out of debt. I got her. I mean, we are smooth sailing. You know, I mean, these gig economy jobs, a lot of people overlook them and they think, well, you know, it doesn't really pay off. It doesn't do this, but that's not true because I got myself out of debt within a month. I had thousands. I mean, I have thousands of dollars, just, you know, chilling, you know, just doing these goofy ass side gigs. You know what I mean? A lot of people overlook them.
No, you know, that's actually, it sounds like your experience has been overwhelmingly positive. And I see there's a little bit of a controversy with, you know, a lot of people right now are saying like, oh, gig economy stuff, it, you know, takes advantage of people or it doesn't pay well or whatever. And then other people say it's the greatest thing ever. And I think what's kind of cool about it, I mean, I wish there was gig economy stuff when I was in college where instead of, you know, working in the cafeteria, you could just kind of go on and off as you want. Or, you know, if you ever lose a job, it, you know what, it's 3 weeks between pay periods, if not longer. So I think the ability to just kind of hop on and start making some money, regardless of the amount, is kind of an awesome service. But do these things kind of go downhill at all in your experience? Like, did Flex start off better and the pay drop, or has it remained pretty consistent?
It's been pretty consistent. Although I do notice back when I did it, they offered 4 hours at $72, and it only took 2 hours. So I was making 2 hours. I was making $72 for 2 hours, which is awesome. Now they kind of reduced that to 3 hours to $54, which is kind of shitty. And to the chat, you know, that says that they do take advantage of you, you got to understand, they do take advantage of you, yes. And they do wreck your car, yes. But if you go in understanding that they take advantage of you and you're doing this to take advantage of them to get some side cash, and you understand that your car was meant to be used and not to sit in a garage all the time. You know, you buy your car, and what does your car do? It helps you get to work. It helps you get paid. It helps you do this. Why would you buy a horse? You know what I'm saying? Because you got to think, like, back in the day, people had horses. Well, why the fuck did they have horses? Well, they had horses to help them work for you. That's kind of like why we have a car. We use it to work for us. Yeah, it's going to wear and tear on our car, but it's giving us that cash. You know what I'm saying? It's serving a purpose to give us a purpose. You know, as long as you understand those things, it's a give-take relationship in both of those things, then you're fine. Now, if you go in thinking, well, you know, fuck these guys, all they're doing is taking advantage of me. I'm not really making no money. I'm not really doing this. I'm not doing that. Well, then, yeah, you're going to have a negative aspect on it. But if you go in knowing that it's 50-50 give-take, then you'll succeed. Then you'll be happy about doing it.
Well, you know, you just brought up kind of an interesting point that I never really thought about. But to be kind of fair to the gig economy, you know, I have some friends who drive 30, 40 miles to work every day, sit in traffic for an hour and a half every day on their way to work. And a lot of times when you hear people talk about gig economy, well, that's great that you made this much money, but are you subtracting the mileage? And I never really thought of it that way, but none of my friends who put 500 miles a week on their car for work and spend, you know, 2 hours a day driving to work, I don't see them, you know, subtracting that from their yearly salary. I made 40 grand, but I spent an extra 300 hours in the car and put 15,000. You know, nobody really subtracts that. So I guess that's kind of one thing people maybe don't take into consideration.
No, I mean, when you're doing the gig economy, obviously everything is elevated. You know what I mean? I'm doing this gig economy, but my tire blew out on the road, and it's all because of the gig economy. Now, if you got a normal job, to my job, I drive an hour or 45 minutes each way to and from. That's about 2 hours, and you know, that's unaccounted for. The mileage is unaccounted for. The gas is unaccounted for. But now when you do gig economy, if you're smart and you document stuff, well, guess what? I go do a Amazon Flex job, right? I do an Amazon Flex job. I fill my gas tank. That gas is covered. Now that gas will cover Amazon Flex and me going to my normal job. Now, does taxes know that? No, but taxes, you know what I'm saying? You got to walk the line. Am I a tax professional? No, by any means not. I am not a tax professional. But what I do is I'll go and I'll do an Amazon Flex or a DoorDash, load up my gas tank. Now that gas is covered, and then I go the rest of the week going and doing my normal job as well. You know what I'm saying? It all covers each other's ass is what you got to think of.
We know Wandering Marine just brought up, I'm not really, maybe he wants to clarify. He said not 100% relevant, but Franchise City just did a big debunk on Amazon delivery companies. I don't know if you might be talking about, I don't know if you heard about this a while back. I actually think Flex sounds more attractive than this, but Amazon put out some statement about, do you want to make $300,000 a year? You can start your own delivery company. You remember hearing about that one?
Yes. Now that is bullshit.
Oh yeah, they want you to invest what, 10 grand? I think at least 10 grand. Spend weeks doing training there. Even though Amazon really isn't that great to their employees, they want you to give all your employees health insurance and everything else. It seems to be just kind of another case of Amazon passing the buck on to freelancers or 1099 contractors or whatever. And I think there's a lot more risk than somebody like you who can say, screw Amazon and leave your thing any day without really any commitment.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a huge risk. You put up that 10,000, that's great. Now you look at the package and you're thinking, oh, this is amazing. I put up 10 grand. They give me the training. They give me the trucks because they give you the trucks and then they give you the product. And you're like, oh, well, that's awesome. Well, now I'm an independent contractor. I work for Amazon Flex. Well, I do work for Amazon Flex. I don't work for them, but now, keep in mind, I'm an independent contractor. I bring my own car. I go there. There aren't any white vans there. You know what I'm saying? They're not getting a lot of work. So now you put up that 10 grand and now you hire these people. Well, you're not getting the work. So you're kind of getting it, a fist up the old keister. You know what I'm saying? It's not working out in your behalf. It's a garbage investment. The numbers are inflated beyond belief and you are getting screwed over. I would recommend not doing that.
Now, what I think is really cool about your Amazon videos, there's a lot of people out there who make the Amazon videos and talk about it. But I was watching one of yours the other day, and you actually take us into the warehouse with you, kind of show you doing it. What's that like going? I've never been to an Amazon warehouse. You hear about how crazy all their systems are. Like the places I imagine are enormous. Like what's that like? Any kind of interesting insights on Amazon from that?
It's horseshit. The funny thing is, the last video I did, I actually got yelled at. Not because I brought the camera in there. It was the fact that I get there, I pulled up to this thing. You'll see me pull up, and I'll say, "Okay, this is my thing. I got to do. I got to go deliver these." But I got there, and that was for a 3.5-hour route. I was only there for 3 hours, so I had to go to the right, and I'm looking. And they wanted me to go to Minneapolis. And I'm like, I don't want to go to Minneapolis. I want to go to Burnsville. And they go, well, you can't just pick and choose. I go, I'm an independent contractor. I don't work for you. I can do whatever the hell I want. Now, keep in mind, the people that work there are all migrant workers. Their English is a little gone. They're not really that, they don't really know what the hell they're doing there because Amazon does not train their people. It is embarrassing and it's sad. And I feel bad for these people because they have no idea. All they're knowing is that you're going there, you're here to take this package and you're here to move it. That's all they know. They know nothing really other than that. And the fact that I grabbed another package and I'm like, I'm doing this one, not this one. They got all mad at me. But then it took like a supervisor to come up and go, okay, we're going to let you do this. And I'm like, dude, I know this system, bro. Like, I know what I can and cannot do. Like, I don't need you to come over here and tell me. You need to train your people and let them know what you can and cannot do. And then he was just like, yeah, you got all mad. And I took my shit and I got out of there. And I was like, what the hell? But, I mean, those warehouses are garbage. And you know what's funny? Speaking of those warehouses and doing that job, now this is the funny part about it, is I got done doing the job, and it's like, to better advance our employees, they ask a survey question every time. This was my survey question. How clean is the bathrooms? How the fuck does that benefit anybody? You know what I'm saying? Like, I've never used your goddamn bathroom. I don't know if it's clean or not. You know what I mean? So I check dirty. I don't know. I mean, what kind of question is that?
No, how far are you from like Minneapolis? For some reason, I was thinking you were way further north. But how far is like Minneapolis or Burnsville from you?
Burnsville is about 15 minutes. Minneapolis is about 40 minutes.
Okay, that's not too bad.
St. Paul's literally 10 minutes.
Okay, yeah, because I told you I used to be in Apple Valley, so I was probably what 35 minutes from you.
Yeah, yep, easy, 30 minutes. Yeah, easy.
Okay. Now, as far as some of the other gig economy stuff, have you done like Uber and Lyft at all, or?
I have not done Uber. I have not done Lyft. Funny thing is, when I was in Chicago, I used nothing but Lyft, and I talked to a whole bunch of those people. And I'm like, look, I'm a gig economy person. I'm a YouTube guy. At that time, I only had 200 subscribers. So when they would check out my YouTube channel, they'd be like, "Who's this dumbass?" They disregard me. But funny thing is, a lady that I was actually Lyft, I was taking her Lyft. She got in touch with me, and she goes, "Man, your YouTube has grown." This and that, and she was talking to me about Lyft and Uber. And Lyft is very beneficial when you're in Chicago. When you're in big cities, it's very beneficial. Like if you're driving downtown Chicago, you're making bank. If you're driving airport things, you're making bank. Now, if you're just driving to like a mall or a fucking grocery store every now and then, you ain't doing nothing. You're not pushing anything. But if you're you're driving to an airport, oh my God, you could be sitting there going like this all day long. You make easy $300 just driving people to and from an airport.
Yeah, you know what's funny? I haven't had a ton of experience using Lyft even as a rider, and more recently I've been taking a few, and it was kind of a running joke with my girlfriend's brother. Like anytime we would take an Uber, he always raves about Uber's so amazing, and every time we took an Uber, it was like the worst experience ever. We had a terrible driver. The guy almost killed us, and one of my recent ones, we were coming home, coming back out to their house from the city out to the suburbs. We caught an Uber at like 4 a.m. Lady was driving a little bit weird initially. Then we get on to 290, which is kind of the major expressway in Chicago, and she almost crashed into the wall 2 or 3 times. And his girlfriend's yelling at her, "You need to stay awake." And there's another road, I think it's called Route 83, and it's like maybe a 3-4 lane, not technically a highway, but almost a highway. And it's 4:35 in the morning, pitch blackout. All of a sudden the car comes to a complete stop in the middle of this like 65-mile-an-hour road, and this lady is fucking snoring right in the middle of the road. And we shook her awake, and she got the rest of the way home. But that was like the scariest ride of my life.
Yeah, that would be terrifying. I'd be like, what the hell? I was just looking at a little bit of the chat there, and I was seeing like we got a full-time Uber driver here. He actually says Uber sucks. So I never took Uber. I've always taken Lyft. There's no reason to that. It's just Lyft was a very easier system to use and navigate instead of Uber. And I'm just looking to see who is in this chat here to see who we got. Shout out to the Phenom, Yoshi, Dark Outlaw coming in here and hanging out there from the Finnegan. So big shout out to those guys coming in here and hanging out with us today. I appreciate that. And shout out to the 15 people watching. Hopefully you guys are hitting that like. Hopefully you guys are hitting that sub button. Hopefully you guys enjoy this content. If you guys enjoy this type of content, and if maybe in future you want, Rules for Rebels and Jackknife Finnegan to sit down and talk shit and hang out with you guys, let us know in the comments, man. Let us know if this is something you like. And, hopefully I'll be grateful and have Rules for Rebels have me back again. That would be awesome. But I just want to know if this is something you guys enjoy, because I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. It's awesome. Thank you.
Well, you had, and we'll get into this in a minute. You had kind of inspired me to look into podcasting, which is something I'd always been curious about. So I'd love to dive a little bit into the podcasting and the Anchor. I was going to share a quick Uber story. So I'd been watching your videos, kind of got curious about the gig economy, and I said, fuck it, I'm gonna sign up for Uber and try this for, it might be an interesting topic to create content. We'll see if we make any money, because I've been hearing that the earnings have been going down. So I decided to try it for an afternoon. My first ride, I pick up a guy from a bar down the street. Doesn't really speak English, Hispanic guy. And he has me take him to the bank. And I don't know how the app works, don't know how anything goes. So I assume he wasn't going to be there long. I'm like, "Do you need another ride?" And we're kind of going back and forth. He's like, "Yeah." And so I didn't know whether I end the ride or do I just sit there and wait. And then he comes back. But, I don't know how the app works. So he comes back out. I had ended the ride. And then he goes to call for another ride, and he realizes it's going to charge him a lot of money. So I was like, "What?" I fucked up. I said, "I'll take you for free." And it was right down the block. So I offered to take him for free. He wound up giving me like a $10 cash tip just for going down the street. But That was my first one. And I hadn't really planned on driving for long. I figured, I'm going to do this for 2 hours, just kind of get my feet wet, see what it's about. And my next ride, I pick up a girl not too far away. And I was out in the suburbs at this point. I just had lunch with my girlfriend at her work. And I didn't realize you really have no control over where Uber takes you. So, at this point, it's like 4 or something. And until you pick somebody up, I think it doesn't show you where you're going. So this girl hops in the car, and all of a sudden I realize I'm going to Gold Coast, which is right by Navy Pier. So really the last place you want to be going at 5 o'clock in the evening. So it had like an hour and 15-minute drive with her to the city. And I hadn't planned on continuing to drive. So after I dropped her off, it was like, well, fuck, now I'm sitting in the car for another hour, driving 25 miles back out to pick my girl up from work. So I didn't realize that literally can take you anywhere. You really don't have much control over where you're going.
Yeah, I wouldn't be down for that. I'd be like, I would literally get there and I'd see Navy Pier. Oh yeah, you gotta go. You gotta get out of the car. I got other shit to be doing.
Now, have you tried? I do a series every Tuesday for anyone who doesn't always watch the channel. I do a series every Tuesday called Side Hustle Tuesdays, where I share kind of different stories of people getting kind of different interesting side hustles and things outside of their 9-to-5 job to make money going. And one of the ones I've done 2 stories, but one of the recent ones, I think last Tuesday, was about a service called Rover. You ever played around with that one?
I've never heard of it, no.
So what it is, I know you're a dog guy. I know we were talking yesterday. You got a couple dogs. I got a couple dogs. Essentially, Rover is kind of like the Airbnb / Uber of pet care. So you can do dog walking. You can, drop in and stop in and visit people's pets. And they actually do overnight stays as well. But a lot of people are making like $45-50 an hour doing that. So if you like dogs, if you're a dog lover, that's kind of an interesting one.
Yeah, I actually might look at that. It'd be kind of interesting. I mean, I wouldn't mind stopping and be like, "Hey, Fido, $40."
Yeah, play with some different dogs and stuff. I got 2 dogs. I mean, me and my girlfriend are always talking about maybe getting a foster dog, just to kind of keep them until they adopt them out. But I'm sure I'd wind up keeping every dog that came into the house. I've been decided not to do that. But yeah, I thought kind of a fun way to play with dogs, make some money. And
I mean, how scary would that be, though? What if you got like 2 pit bulls and they're like full grown and they're like, you go out there and they're like ready to rip your face off and you're like, oh shit. And you're like, hey, I'd be scared out of my mind.
I hadn't thought about that. I was telling you yesterday, I have a 110-pound bulldog pit bull mix, and he's fine with women, but if a man comes in the house, he'll go crazy and try to bite him. See, I wouldn't be able to use a service like that.
Yeah, exactly. I'd be scared out of my ass. I'd be like, hey, buddy. I'd rip my arm off. I'd be like, oh, shit. I'd be running.
Now, you got the YouTube going, and you just recently started a podcast called the JFTK?
JKFT. JKFT
podcast.
Yep.
So what inspired you to start the podcast? Kind of how'd you get started, and how does that differ than YouTube and what you're doing on YouTube?
Truth be told, I actually wanted to do a podcast before I did YouTube. I didn't want to do YouTube, but YouTube really wasn't anything I wanted to do. YouTube wasn't nothing that ran. I wanted to do JKFT or at the time a podcast, just because it was a thing I could record on my phone. You don't have to see me. I could just lay out a bunch of shit and then just throw it out there, and boom, there it goes. And, I eventually got into YouTube. I started rocking with YouTube and I got a following. So I'm like, well, shit, I'm going to go back and revisit the podcast, see what happens. Maybe it'll take off, maybe it won't, but let's try, let's give it a shot. And, I was talking to another guy and he was, doing some shit and he figured out this Anchor app. And I'm thinking, okay, I'll check out this Anchor app. And I look at it and I'm like, okay, why not? Let's throw something out here. I throw something out there. It only goes on Anchor. Excuse me. And after that, it goes, you unlock things. So after X amount of weeks, you go to Google, you go to Apple, you go to Spotify, so on and so forth. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of cool. And then I put it on YouTube, and I got, 40 listeners and 40 viewers, and awesome. And it's cool, but because now every time I usually do it on the weekend, because I what happens is I fall asleep when I drive. I'm one of those type of people. It's not good. So then when I get done with work, it's like dog ass early in the morning. It's like 4 or 5 in the morning, and I'm driving home. And what I do is I get me a Red Bull and I record JKFT to prevent me from falling asleep driving home. And that's pretty much what happens. Then I get home, I put it out there, I go to sleep, and then I read if people like it or not. You know what I mean?
Now, I noticed podcasting is getting kind of getting pretty big, and I think getting a lot more popular. And whereas YouTube's kind of saturated, one of the cool things I think about podcasting is that I think there's still a lot of room to grow. I think there's still a lot of kind of untapped niches. So that's something I've been really interested in, as well as it's something that people can kind of listen to more passively than watching YouTube. And I'd heard about that Anchor app, and when you told me about it yesterday, I decided to check it out. And for anyone who's watching who has an interest in maybe doing a podcast, I had looked into podcasting. It was kind of overwhelming. Where do I host this? I had no idea how to kind of mix and edit audio with, an intro or music. How do you get advertising? How does all this work? And you kind of told me about it. I checked it out yesterday. But yeah, like you said, I mean, literally everything. They syndicate it across iTunes, Google Play Store, EasyCast, all the different podcasting things. They provide the ads. So everything's kind of done right for you. It's literally as simple as pressing a button and talking into your phone, right?
Yeah, it is. And not to like dim it down or dumb it down or talk bad about Anchor, but what it is and essentially is a poor man's podcast. And what I mean by that is, I mean, are we poor people? No, we're not. But we don't want to go into an adventure or a business venture, spending all this money into something that we have no idea how it's gonna pan out. So when you get in with Anchor, it's like a one pop shop. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you do it, you set it out there, you see where it goes, and then let's say you get all these followers, all these listeners. Okay, well now I have something. So then now we take that. And then we go and we, put it into other things, or we put it into our equipment, and then we make it something great, something amazing. But it allows us, people that do not want to have a large overhead or spend a lot of money, it allows us to jump up and shoot up a podcast and see where it goes. And that's what I love about it, is it's like a poor man's podcast. You don't have to have any money. You don't, excuse me. You don't have to have any money. You don't have to have any overhead. You just pretty much download the app, say some shit, hit the button, boom, it's out there. And that's what I love about it. That's the accessibility is great.
With my channel, we cover a lot of like business stuff here. And one thing that I see a lot of people falling into is like, well, I can't get started yet because I don't know enough, or I can't start my YouTube channel because I don't have a DSLR. And you said something interesting to me yesterday when we were talking. You were like, I was thinking about doing a podcast, and I don't really know what I'm doing, but I just said fuck it and threw it up there. And I love the idea of just kind of getting started and kind of pressing forward. And if you don't, most stuff never ever gets done. So I thought that was kind of one of the neat things is you can refine it, you can add your intros and things like that later. If you want to expand and grow onto Libsyn or something like that, you can do that as well. But here's a way that like literally anybody with even a moderate interest can get started for free, no money. So yeah, I thought that was awesome. And one other interesting thing just to kind of throw out there, after you told me about it yesterday, I watched a couple of videos, and initially the first video I watched said that you don't own your own content, which was kind of troubling to me, because what if the podcast takes off and I want to move it over to Libsyn or whatever these other things are? And I guess Anchor has refined their terms of service. So it clearly states you do own your content, they don't own your content. So that was really the only potential negative I could think about using them, was maybe you don't own your own content, but apparently you do. So it is a great place to start out, even if you want to kind of move on up later on down the road.
Yeah, that is actually one thing that scared everybody from Anchor. You're like, you don't own your content, we own your shit. And I was like, man, whatever. It is what it is. Let's just do it. Let's see what happens. And then they refined it. They said, okay, you have the rights, because they knew by saying that you don't own your stuff, no one's going to mess with them. You know what I mean?
Right.
I took a gamble. I tried it, and I'm happy that I did, because now I own the rights to my stuff. You know what I'm saying? It's one of those things that you got to take a gamble. You got, in this business, in this industry, you got to gamble. And the great thing about it is you're gambling for free. That is the best thing. Anchor, you're gambling for free. YouTube, you're gambling for free. I mean, if we all sat around and we said, we all go, I'm not going to record anything unless I have a high-end camera and the best computer out there known to man. I'm not going to do anything until I get that. Well, then you might as well just give it up, because you're not going to do it. And I don't want to be rude. I don't want to be an asshole. I don't want to be that. I'm just going to spit facts at you. Because if you sit around, you procrastinate, you wait, guess what happens? Nothing. You do nothing. You need to just get your ass out there, start recording shit, start throwing it up there, because you never know. You never know. You might be the next ninja. You might be the next, anybody. You might be the next anybody. You never know. So get your ass out there and start doing it. You know what I mean?
We don't know. With what you were saying, on the flip side, I've seen other people. Somebody else was just talking about this the other day. You have other people who go out and spend $3,000 on equipment, get started, and then a week in realize, this isn't for me, or I don't really want to do this. And now you got $3,000 worth of DSLs and expensive microphones for something that you didn't even wind up following through on.
Yeah, now you're just sitting there looking stupid, paying a bill that now you're looking at the shit in the corner of your room like, you know what I mean? No, you got to just do it. You got to do it. I mean, that's how everybody got started. You just got to do it. You can't procrastinate. I was going to do a video and specify what is the difference between a dream and what is the difference between a goal. And then the short answer of that is a dream has no deadline. A goal has a deadline. And that's the honest to God's truth. If you set goals and deadlines, well, then they become goals and become reality. Now, if you're over here not, I'll get to it, that's a dream. You're not going to do shit, and you're going to be a dreamer for the rest of your life. You need to get down and sit down, write down a deadline, achieve your deadline, and bam, you're now hitting goals. You're now setting, things in life to progress you. Because dreaming, you're over here in the fucking clouds. This is what you're doing. You know what I mean? You don't want to be doing this. You want to be out there on the forefront, hammering out these goals left and right and doing things. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's just the gist of it.
You know what? I just, as you were saying that, you reminded me. I think that's the first video I stumbled upon of yours. I think you had kind of an inspirational kind of video about goals or something like that a while back, and I think that was what kind of turned me onto your channel. Actually, now that I think about it.
You know what's funny is I was actually contemplating of doing a motivational Monday type video every Monday. Something that'll get you up and make you want to get up and rock Monday. You know what I mean? I was gonna call it Motivational Monday, but I don't know. We'll see. It's still in the works. I see we got Dad's commentary in here. That's what's up. Appreciate Dad's commentary coming over here rocking with us. That is awesome. I'm not sure if you know who Dad's commentary is, Rules, but Dad's commentary is a guy. He just hit 4,000 subs, and he's a dude that's like he's like a PG type of guy.
He still owes me a dad joke from yesterday.
Oh, he did try telling us one, but it was very odd. It was very odd, but I mean, if you ever watch his live stream, he does his dad rapping. He's like, Fortnite, get it right, get it tight. You gotta give him credit.
You ever watch? You just made me think about this guy because he was interviewing some other YouTube dad. You ever watch Philip Solo TV?
No, I have not.
No, he's kind of I'm not sure how he had a channel with like 2 or 3 videos and he gets like millions of views. I don't know I think he maybe is like a SoundCloud rapper or something like outside of YouTube, but he recently started a YouTube channel and he'll do a lot of really weird but really funny things. He'll review like dollar store food products. He'll go stay at like the worst rated hotel in his city. Just kind of goofy things like that. But he's got a pretty entertaining channel. I saw he was visiting New York and just met up with another dad YouTuber the other day.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out and see, because that is impressive. If you got a guy who dropped a couple of videos and he's got millions or thousands of followers, that is insane. I was just looking at the chat. I was just looking at the backseat driver. He sounds like he's doing some big things with 13.5K rides in Boston. That would actually be kind of an interesting type of guy, because I love Boston accents. You know what I mean? He'd be a pretty cool dude.
I was just looking him up. I feel like I've heard of him or maybe watched him before. I was looking to see if I could put a face to a name. Is that the name of your channel, that backseat driver?
Yeah, because I was looking at that in the chat, and I was like, damn, that's pretty cool. A 13.5 ride guy from Boston. You can only imagine the stories that guy would fucking have.
Yeah, I imagine Boston's got to be a tough city.
Oh, my God. I can just imagine you get in the car. He's like, just drive the fucking car. Just drive the fucking car.
And you're like, damn. I was having a hard time finding his channel in search, but Backseat, shoot me an email with your channel. I'd love to check that out. Yeah,
because I can only imagine how that would pan out. I'm just trying to offer you some Twizzlers. You want some Twizzlers? No, drive the fucking car. Okay, goddamn, man, calm down.
No, piggybacking on your podcast thing, I was actually listening to one of your episodes this morning. And I think it's kind of cool. It's a little bit different than what you're doing on YouTube, and you're covering a lot of like interesting and kind of weird news stories on the podcast, right?
Yeah, well, the whole goal of the podcast show is to, it is used to promote, future videos, promote things that I'm doing on YouTube. Yes, but the gist of the podcast is to cover zany news topics around the world that nobody ever really pays attention to or knows about, but they're so damn funny you got to cover them. You know what I mean? You get the news that's like, today a family was murdered and it's going to rain today. No one wants to hear that shit. That's depressing. It's a bummer. But then I come on and I'm like, well, hey, a guy is injecting semen in his arm. Like, what the fuck? Or we got a Yule log that smells like fried chicken. Shit like that might spark an interest. And it's so weird, but it's reality and it needs to be covered and it's funny. You know what I mean? And that's what I like to do. Funny shit, No,
you know what? I remember you were telling me about the semen one, and we can talk about that. I pulled together before I hopped on here with you. I pulled together a couple of kind of weird news stories. I figure we can kind of discuss real quickly. So the first one you had told me about yesterday, and somehow some Irish guy, I believe it was, decided that he could cure his back pain by injecting semen into his own arm, right?
Yeah, he was. And, I was actually digging into it and thinking about, like, what would cause this man to think that his semen is like Superman type shit. And I think what he was thinking about is, how they get that stuff from the spine. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but oh my God, it's stuff that they're actually going to use. Yeah, stem cell. I think that's what he was thinking. He was thinking his semen was stem cell. And that's where he was a little dingy, because it's semen, stem cell. Two different things. But I think that's what he was thinking. I think he was thinking his semen was stem cell, and that's why he did it. But stem cell, you guys, that's the future. If you can find a way to invest in that shit, start investing now, because that stuff is going to be able to regenerate all of your shit. We're going to be like cyborgs, dude. It's going to be crazy.
The dad's commentary, you got one for us. Why did the coffee file a police report? It got mugged. I saw a couple other good news stories. I saw there was this actually looked pretty cool. I'm kind of disappointed to hear it got cut. There was someone came up with a bomb defusal game, and you actually have like a little bomb. It almost seems like kind of an operation type thing, and you have wire clippers, and you have to deactivate this bomb before it goes off. And I guess the game was recently pulled off of store shelves and Amazon. Everyone's really sensitive these days, and I guess parents got upset, which I was kind of surprised by, because they're not making bombs, they're defusing bombs. They're the good guy in that scenario. But I think one of the things that set it off, a cop had mailed this game to one of his coworkers, and it cleared out the police department as a bomb threat. So I think that's the final straw there.
Oh, that's funny. I mean, that would be, for one, it'd be interesting who made it. For two, it'd be, I want to see this. I want to see pictures of this game, because I really want to see it. That does interest me. But who made the game is the big key.
I think it's some company outside of the U.S., and I believe the listing, if you check it probably within the next hour or two, I think it's still up on Amazon. Maybe if someone who's watching can do a search and drop it in the chat. We need one of those guys like Joe Rogan has. Jamie, Google that for me.
Yeah, someone Google this.
I saw another interesting one. Did you see the Instagram record just got broken? 33 million likes for for an uncooked egg, just a picture of an egg, which actually beat out Kylie Jenner as the most liked Instagram post.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm not a fan of the Jenners or the Kardashians or anything. So anything beating those guys makes me happy. I mean, if it takes a fucking egg to beat them, that is sad. But I'm not a fan of the Jenners, the Kardashians, any of those goofy asses. I mean, I've watched very minimal about them. I'm just not a fan. I'm not a fan at all. But, shout out to the egg. Shout out to the egg for beating everybody.
I was curious. I just kind of perused that when I was meaning to read the article. I was kind of curious, like how I'm sure it kind of turned into a let's get this to beat a Jenner. But, I was curious what kind of the backstory to that was. There was another interesting one. I think this one comes from the UK. A gentleman had opened up a Japanese restaurant in his house. which I guess goes against their zoning rules and things like that. They were trying to get it shut down, and he told the city council, I don't have a restaurant. I just wanted to put my name on the house. And they show a picture of the house, and it's like Sakura Japanese restaurant, phone number, website. You can book your meal there. But I guess the city council was like, well, unless we see him serving people Japanese food, we can't do anything about it.
That's interesting. You know, what he's doing is he's having people meet him in the back, and then probably serving down in like a basement, and then letting them go out the back, and then the idiots are probably in the front watching, like, oh, there ain't nobody doing nothing. This is fine.
Well, did you hear about, you might find this one entertaining. Have you seen the little Vice piece about the guy who tricked TripAdvisor into becoming the most popular restaurant in the UK? And it was just it was a fake restaurant in his backyard, and he was serving people microwave dinners. Did you ever catch that one?
No, but that is clever. That's good.
It was hilarious. I forget what he did. He basically created a TripAdvisor portfolio, got a bunch of friends to leave some fake reviews, and then everybody was calling this restaurant wanting to get reservations, and he wasn't answering the phone, which made it even more in demand. And this thing kept growing and growing, and he had, executives at big companies, famous people, all trying to get seats at this restaurant. And it's, sorry, we're booked. And so for one night, he decided to do kind of a grand opening kind of thing, and he was serving people basically TV dinners, but like sprinkling some garnishes on the top to make it look fancier. And they interviewed everybody after, and everybody that was the best meal I've ever had, and I have to come back here. And yeah, that one was pretty entertaining as well.
I mean, it's just, it's crazy. It just shows you what type of society that we are in, which is sad, is the almighty dollar. You know what I mean? It goes back to that. If someone sees something, big, fancy, it costs a lot of money. They want to do it because they want the name. They want the recognition. They want instant gratitude. You know what I'm saying? And it's crazy that this guy probably served 99-cent banquet, TV dinners, and got away with it. Kudos to him for doing that, by the way, because that just exposed what type of a civilization we are. You know what I'm saying? Like that makes us as a whole look
really
bad.
Stupid.
You know what I mean? It's sad. It's embarrassing. But kudos to him for exploiting that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it was really pretty. I think he's done a couple other kind of viral stunts and things. But yeah, I think it was a Vice documentary piece that they did that was pretty good. I had another kind of funny story. This one comes from Florida, which I don't know if any of your guys radio stations do this, but WLS or one of these Chicago radio stations does this. Is this a fake story, or did it happen in Florida? Since it seems like all the goofiest shit in the world has to go down in Florida. And a Florida man threatened to kill his neighbors with kindness. Turns out his machete was named Kindness. I don't know if you saw that one.
Oh, no. Oh, my God.
And then, the Bird Box Challenge. But we'd kind of already talked about this one. I know you had talked something about police departments earlier. Have you heard of the Bath Township Police Department up in Michigan?
No, I have not. And that's kind of funny that you're going to mention Michigan. Dad's commentary is from Michigan.
Oh, what part of Michigan is he from?
Yeah, I don't know where part of Michigan, but he is from Michigan. So, and then we also got to give a shout to his other dad joke he had in here. He had where was the one that says, "My wife's mom was a terrorist because my wife is the bomb."
Oh, yeah, I saw that
one. But yeah, he is from Michigan. Where in Michigan, I do not know. But let's hear about the police in Michigan.
So there's if any of you guys are on Facebook or whatever other social medias, check out a police department in Michigan. It's called the Bath Township Police Department. And these guys have they always got something going viral on social media. Whoever's managing their stuff is really clever. A while back, they changed all their cars to say Popo on the side instead of police department.
Nice.
And that kind of made news, got some laughs. They actually do something which I think is really cool as well as kind of funny. And I guess it's probably, goodwill to the community. But once a year, I think it's February 23rd, if you show up at the police department and kind of just do a meet and greet or whatever, they will give you a get out of jail free card. And it's a literal get out of jail free card. If you are arrested, even for felonies, you can get out of any arrest with this get out of jail free card that they pass out. I think the only thing it doesn't work for is DUIs and obviously probably like murder and things like that. But misdemeanor or felony, they give out once a year to everybody get out of jail free cards. I thought that was kind of neat.
Yeah, we gotta go party over there. That's where we gotta go. You gotta be like, hey, what's going on over here?
And then when Michigan recently legalized marijuana recreationally, it's not going to kick in for about a year. But the day that happened, they put out a really funny Facebook post, and it was something about made some joke reference to Bob Ross paintings and some other goofy stuff, and there was something funny. They kind of made some joke about, we know none of you guys were growing this prior, so nobody's going to be able to take advantage of this today. But yeah, they always have some really kind of clever social media stuff coming out.
I'll have to check that out because that is kind of interesting to see that those guys and make fun of what they got going on. That's always a good thing. But now this is kind of crazy because I'm gonna go back a little ways to when you talked about the Japanese guy having a restaurant in his house. And now we're going to go back even further to our discussion from yesterday in Costa Rica. A lot of their restaurants in Costa Rica are called sodas, and all they are is restaurants in people's houses. So they have, and it's crazy because they have convenience stores, type convenience stores in people's houses. They also have restaurants in people's houses, but they're called sodas. So if you are going to go to Costa Rica and you want to save a lot of money, if you know a little bit of Spanish, you'll be okay. But they have restaurants in these houses, and they're called sodas.
Did you try any of those places?
Yeah, I actually did. And I don't know much Spanish at all, but I have Google Translator, and it's amazing. I'll literally talk into Google Translator in English, and it'll flip it back in Spanish to a point where they can actually understand, and then they'll speak Spanish, and then it'll come back English to the point where I understand. And that's a lot of the stuff that we did in Costa Rica, and it was amazing. Google Translator saved my ass in Costa Rica.
Do you need a data plan for that to work or no?
Not in Costa Rica. T-Mobile was everything was free and good to go in T-Mobile.
Have you seen? I remember a while back they were showing those. I forget what's there's that new popular Google phone. I forget what it's called.
The Pixel.
Yeah, the Pixel with the did you see that when they were actually having like a real-time conversation, 2 different languages? And
that was bullshit. I went and I bought those because of that reason.
Did you really?
And yeah, literally. And when the funny thing was, as I should have recorded me doing this, but I went and I bought the Pixel earbuds. And so I went to Mall of America, and there's a guy speaking Spanish. I go, hey, speak Spanish to me. I want to see if I can understand what you're saying. Dude speaking Spanish, nothing. I'm not getting nothing. I'm like, what the hell? So I'm like, okay, maybe it's something, I go through the settings. The guy leaves. So then I go to another spot where this other guy's speaking Spanish. I go, hey, speak Spanish to me. I want to see if this works. Nothing. And I'm like, all right, whatever. And then I come across this Asian guy, and I go, hey, can you speak, speak your language into this? I want to see, nothing. And I spent like, what, $200 on those things? I took them back immediately. I'm like, nah, I'm good. And I rocked Google Translator, which was on my phone. But the only thing with that is you got to hand them to your phone, and then they sit and they speak into the phone, and then it translates. So then you're kind of looking goofy because you're speaking into the phones, but it works. But those earbuds, those are bullshit.
Now, did you find? I think my mom was saying she found a lot of people speak English in Costa Rica. Is that right? No,
no, not really, not much. No. A lot. Well, I mean, now you got to keep in mind, I was in the rural areas.
Okay.
When you go to San Jose, everybody speaks Spanish. Everybody. But now, if you're in the rural areas, if you're in Guanacaste, only a select group. And then if you're up in the volcanic region, nobody speaks English in the volcanic region. The crazy thing is, when you're in Costa Rica, the languages of choice are French and Spanish.
Really?
Yeah, isn't that weird? A lot of French migrate there. A lot of French people migrate there. I don't know why, but they do. It's crazy.
We know that it seems like you like to travel. I know yesterday we were talking about some travels. I was asking you for some destinations. I'm planning a trip. So if anybody in the comments, if you guys got any cool destinations, I'm looking for somewhere to get away to that's fun. Ideally, kind of a warmer beach place. But we were talking about Aruba, and I thought that was an interesting one. They I would expect Spanish, but they have their own language, which is like some hodgepodge of like 3 languages.
I forget what it's called, but it's like broke man something.
Papiamento or something like that.
Yeah, something to that effect. It's very odd. It's like a mixture of Dutch, Caribbean, and like some other shit. But a big thing of the Caribbean islands, Dutch is a big thing. It's a big language. It's big.
Well, so yeah, I love that. I thought Aruba was a great destination. Looks like Near Beastman says Japan.
Japan would be amazing.
Wandering
I want to
Marine
go to
says he was in
Tokyo.
Japan 2 years ago. I'm
God, I
kind of
would
scared of
love.
flying. I don't know if I could. There's all these places I want to go. Thailand was one of the places that she was suggesting. I said I don't know if I can do like I don't know the 18-20 hour flight.
Oh yeah, but you get movies. You get movies, and you get a whole bunch of shit. They give you like meals. Like it's a whole new game. It ain't like some country or like what is it, U.S. or whatever. People fly. I usually go with Spirit. I like Spirit. A lot of people hate Spirit, but I love Spirit. Spirit's benefited me on more times than anything. But
You know, it's kind of cool. I've never really been on a long flight before, and so when we went to Aruba, that was one of the longer ones I'd been on. And I've never had that. Man, they got TVs with video games built into the thing. Every series I was watching, I think I watched five seasons of Silicon Valley. On there, and it definitely does help the time pass when you got all that stuff going.
oh yeah, absolutely. And they give you good meals and drinks. I mean, they know you're stuck in a shitty capsule with a goddamn little garbage porta potty. They know what you're getting into. So they want to make it the best that they can for you because they know when you get off that plane, you're gonna be like, oh fuck this thing, and then the rating goes in the toilet. They know they're not gonna stick you with some garbage shit.
So we did Delta, and I was like, I think I'm gonna keep flying Delta. It was so much better than most of my experiences are either like Frontier, JetBlue, Spirit, and Delta. Man, the seats were nicer. They had TVs and all that on both legs of it. So I was like, I think that's the way I'm gonna go from here on out.
Yeah, I agree, but you're paying. You know what
Oh
I mean?
yeah,
You pay for Delta. Now, when you go on Spirit, it's a pay-as-you-go type airline. JetBlue is one like that. Frontier is one like that. The ones you named are a lot of pay-as-you-go type things, and it all depends what you're looking for. It all depends what you want out of your flight. If you want the leg room, you want the TVs, you want a free drink of water, then yeah, Delta's your thing. But if you're one of those people where you're traveling with a large family, like I do, I'm trying to cut costs.
right.
You know what I mean. So I'll fly Spirit, and I'll buy the water at the airport. You know what I mean. I'll be like, all right, we're buying the water at the airport. Here you go, boom. And just understand we ain't getting the leg room. We're not getting the free carry on. You pay for what you get. You know what I mean. That's the gist of it on that one.
Somebody was the Phenom was talking about Guam. I was actually watching some YouTube videos about Guam. I don't know how one of those wormholes, but I somehow stumbled upon some videos about moving to Guam, and I used to have a neighbor who was from Guam as well. From what I've heard, it's not that great. I think there's not a ton going on. I know they do have an area with like a bunch of like really really high end luxury shopping, but I think I've heard most people say it's nothing really to write home about.
Another reason why Guam could be attractive for people to travel that want to get out of the country and experience international travel. This is why Guam is an attractive place. Is you do not need a U.S. passport to go to Guam.
That is a good, yeah. It's a U.S. territory or whatever it is.
Yep, and same as Puerto Rico. If you want to get out, you do not need a U.S. passport for Puerto Rico or Guam. That's the reason why a lot of people find those attractive. You know what I'm saying? Because not a lot of people have passports.
Now, do you remember? This is a couple years ago. This just jumped into my mind. I think they were talking about moving another Marine base out to Guam, and there was some senator. He was an older guy, and maybe it's not funny because that maybe was going a little bit senile. It probably shouldn't have been working, but at this like very serious, government hearing with military officials, he was talking about if we move another, and he's trying to talk very intelligently, if we move another military base to Guam, the weight of the soldiers and equipment could capsize the island, causing it to tip. Do you remember that story?
No, but that just sounds fucking stupid.
Look it up on YouTube. Yeah, it's you have this like lifelong congressman or senator, whatever he was, trying to talk very, and it's like an island is not going to tip over. But that's one of the things that jumps out about Guam. I think you can find it on YouTube.
I want what that guy's smoking. If you can flip a whole island, hey, especially if you talk to the people that think the earth is flat, well, holy shit, we could flip that son of a bitch too then,
The
That's
someone was
funny.
saying Wandering Marine said Qatar Airways is pretty good. I've seen some crazy things of like Qatar and UAE, like you actually get like a room to yourself, like a capsule. Your thing can go down into a bed. Yeah, yeah. Some of those
Wow, I've never
UAE
even
and
heard of
Qatar airlines
that.
are insane.
His name is Hank Johnson. Shout out to the Phenom for calling out Hank Johnson. That's the guy you were talking about.
Okay,
That's awesome that we got a guy on the spot Googling that shit. Thank you,
right.
Phenom, for checking that out.
Alaska Air. Watch that season. Would they have a TV show, Alaska Air backseat driver? I remember they used to have the TV show about Southwest with everyone getting all pissed off at the Southwest desk workers.
I've never seen that. You know what the most funniest fucking TV series I've ever seen in my life was, and I can't believe they turned it into a series, and I was like, oh my God. But dude, this was, I think it was on, oh my God, what was it? It was on some like a Lifetime or A&E or some shit, but they had a series. It was called Mall Cops, Mall of America.
Oh,
I'm
I do
like,
remember
oh
that.
my God, dude, why? And like they had the most oddest shit, bro. I'm like, Jesus, why are we doing this? And then it was funny because every time I go to Mall of America with my wife, I'd always walk out there and I'd see like a mall security and I'd be like, Mall Cops, Mall of America. And my wife's like, dude, you're gonna get arrested. And I'm like, I don't give a shit. Like this is hilarious.
How is Mall of America? Is that worth visiting? Is that worth checking out?
The
No?
I mean, the only reason why I would say go to Mall of America or go to Minnesota in general to buy clothes because we do not have a tax on clothes. That's the only reason why that Mall of America exists. That's the reason why malls exist in Minnesota and why retail is doing amazing in Minnesota is we do not have tax on clothes. So all the out of towners, not staters, come here because they're getting free clothes. You know, if you see a clothes that's like, $5.99, you're legit paying $5.99. You know what I
You
mean?
know,
There's no tax.
I think they had built the Mall of America shortly before I before I wound up moving away. And I remember a lot of people used to go and walk there just because it was so giant. But I remember one of the neat things, they had a sporting goods store, and pretty much everything they sold you could try out. So if you wanted to buy a baseball bat, you could use it in a batting cage. They had some kind of synthetic plastic floor you could skate on to try out skates, and they even had like a ski hill in the store where it was just a carpet on a belt. But you could ski. That was one of the coolest things I remember when I was younger up there.
Yeah, they had amazing stuff like that, but now it's so commercial, man. It is so commercial. I got to give a shout out to someone in here. We got Flippin' Hustler from Holly, Minnesota. You got to understand, dude, when I see people in the chat, they're from Minnesota, and I'm from Minnesota, I love that shit. So I got to give them a shout out. So shout out to Flippin' Hustler from Minnesota. But other
Is
than that, yeah.
Is he a YouTuber as well? I'm guessing I'm assuming he does like some Amazon retail arbitrage or something like that, or.
I have no idea. I just seen he's from Minnesota, and I was like, God damn, I got super excited because anyone from Minnesota is a friend of mine. You know what I'm saying? If I see that you're from Minnesota, I will go to the extent to shout you out beyond belief because I
Well,
love that.
well, flipping,
Midwest.
man. If you got a channel, drop a link because I said that's kind of right up my alley, kind of flipping and reselling things like that. So yeah, if you got a channel, drop a link. I'd love to check it out.
I mean, you gotta give it a shout. Anyone from the Midwest, Minnesota, Michigan, Illinois. If you're from the Dakotas, I've never met anyone from the Dakotas. Have you met anyone from the Dakotas? I have not.
No, never. I
I've
took a
never
trip
even
out
seen a
there when I was a
YouTube
kid.
channel. I've never even seen a YouTube channel from the Dakotas. I don't know if anyone messes with anyone from the Dakotas.
You know what? There's actually now that you say that, there's actually one guy I watch. His name's Justin Charnell. He's got a channel called Onyx Defiant, and I think he goes to a university in either North Dakota or South Dakota. He's actually really good. I really like him. I think a lot of times the best YouTube channels are some of the smaller ones, and he's only got a couple hundred subs. And I've been trying to get him to come on for an interview. I try to kind of push his channel, so I think he's got awesome content.
Well, hell, I'll have to check him out because I've never seen anybody from the Dakotas, bro. I've not seen one.
Brock Lesnar is from Minnesota. You know who else? I think isn't Jesse Ventura is Minnesota too, isn't he?
Yeah, Minnesota governor. Yeah. You want to talk about Brock Lesnar, dude? Oh my God. I met that guy before he started in WWE. He was one of those jagoffs. He would go to like the university, there's a place called the Library, and it's a bar, and it's on university campus. He would go there because he was a big muscle Brock Lesnar, and he tried to pound all these young girls. That was his thing, that was his stick. But dude, have you ever talked to him? He was dumb as shit, man. This guy, I mean, you talk to him, he's like, like he's stupid, and you're like, what? Like, how are you the number one heavyweight champion of the world, and you come to UFC and you're dominating, but when you talk to him, he's really stupid, and you're like, oh my god, like wow. Adrian Peterson, he's another one. He's another guy. You talk to him and you're like, what? Top running back in history, and you sound like an idiot. Like he's just dumb, and you're like, what? It's shocking.
Looks like Flippin' Hustler is an eBay reseller, so I'll have to check him out. And then I saw he said he's 22 miles east of Fargo. Fargo, man, Fargo is one of my favorite movies of all time. Did you get into the television series Fargo? With I think the season 1 was Billy Bob Thornton, and the second one was somebody else.
No, I never got into that, but I'm gonna drop Flippin' Hustler. I'm dropping you a sub, brother. I'll check out your channel because I am actually, excuse me, I'm actually in the process of looking up like FBA type stuff where you take things and you flip it and sell it. So I mean that is an interesting topic. That is a hot topic that still goes on to this day. A lot of people think FBA is dead. I know you and I touched up on that yesterday a little bit, talked about that type of business. But that is not dead either. That is a healthy horse. You know.
But we know what's kind of funny about that. I used to, because it sounds, I'm assuming Flippin' Hustler is at least from the sound of his channel, I'm guessing he's more into flipping items or retail arbitrage as opposed to the private label stuff. And I actually have a video probably coming out either today or tomorrow, but basically about kind of all the dirty tricks and dirty guys on Amazon. And I used to think that private label was the way to go. As opposed to retail arbitrage or flipping. And it almost seems like it's switching. People are playing some dirty games, man. People can go into the patent office's website and change your patent to be under their information and take over all your stuff on Amazon. People are ordering your brand from Amazon, setting it on fire, taking a picture, and then sending it to Amazon as unsafe. People are hiring Fiverr sellers to bombard you with either good reviews to get you kicked off or bad reviews to get you kicked off. And what's really screwed up is Amazon has a really horrible system in place for appealing and kind of getting around all this stuff. And there was actually a fascinating article, and I think it was The Verve the other day. And it kind of talked about a lot of these dirty tricks and things like that. And what was kind of fun was two of the people mentioned in the article who were kind of the experts, I'd actually met at Ecom Chicago back in October. But yeah, Amazon definitely not dead, but yeah, definitely kind of a fun and challenging thing.
And it's sad because I mean, by you stating all those things that's happening, it's such what that's saying is it's a dog eat dog market. What that's saying is you got the people that have been doing this for years, and now you got the up and coming kids that are coming in trying to do that, and they're just like throwing Molotovs at them. You know what I mean? Like they're scared. That's all that's saying is the people that are doing it and that are comfortable doing it are scared. They're scared of competition. They're scared of the up and coming guy. And that's just sad. That's sad. I mean, if you were to sit down and talk and maybe come together and do a conglomerate instead of throwing Molotovs at the up and coming guys, you know, these old dogs can learn new tricks. A lot of people don't understand. Old dogs can learn new tricks, and that's what these guys need to understand, and not smack down the up and comer, because the up and comer could bring new ideas, could bring better revenue to the old dog. You know what I'm saying? Like. They need to understand that shit, but they don't. They're stupid. They're blinding themselves.
Well, what's kind of messed up and kind of sad about the whole thing is that I think a lot of times it's not even necessarily the established people doing it. It's either Chinese factories or just bad actors or new people trying to break in. But what was kind of messed up is a lot of these people, they were able to build. You know, they started out just small time hustling. They built the business, and now that they have all these employees and inventory in a warehouse. Now this happens to them, and a lot of them had their Amazon's account shut down. They had thousands of dollars worth of merchandise. They can't pay their employees, and it almost sucks worse that it happens later on down the road once you have all this stuff established. I actually know a guy near me who, and this happened to me as well. We were kind of dabbling in some sports memorabilia, and one gentleman I know had bought about $150,000 worth of officially licensed, authentic goods, had planned on selling them on Amazon. And then overnight, MLB, NHL, you know, all the sports organizations decided they didn't want their stuff sold on third-party websites. And even though Amazon says they don't get in the middle of distribution fights, if the company is big enough and they want to kiss their ass enough, they will. So I actually got some issues with Amazon for intellectual property, even though I was buying officially licensed stuff. And this guy had like 4 or 5 card shops go out of business because he had counted on moving all this inventory on Amazon, got stuck with all of it.
That's crazy. That's just sad.
I saw Flippin says he does auctions, thrift stores, garage sales. I actually got my start doing storage auctions. I don't know if you ever watch those TV shows like Storage Wars.
Oh, is that what you did?
When I first started out, that's I got into it right before the TV shows came on. And back then it was like me, maybe 2, 3 other guys at an auction. And we would literally just take turn, you take this unit, I'll take the next one, because why run the prices up on each other? And as soon as those, I remember my first unit ever, I probably made about $6,000 off it. Cost me $400. 2 flat screen TVs, and this is back when there was actually value in TV. Back before TVs were $200, it used to cost thousands. Designer handbags, designer clothes, furniture, all this great stuff. Made about $600 off the unit, or $6,000 off the unit. And after those TV shows came on, you had 300 people at auctions, people bidding each other, crazy for auction, for units that looked like garbage. So yeah, it really kind of wound up going downhill after that.
That's crazy. And I can only imagine once that damn TV show came out, you know how you got that storage unit for 400. I'm sure once that show came out, you're paying 800, you're paying 1,000. So pretty much you're not making money because that goddamn show came out and oversaturated the market. I'm sure of it.
We know it's kind of funny. I specifically went to, I don't know if you guys have pods up by you, but pods is where, like, instead of going to a storage facility, they drop the pod off at your house, you load it up. And
yeah, we do.
Yeah, so they come out. So I went to a pods auction. They were going to have a bunch of pods units and stuff up for sale. It was Christmas Eve at like 4 o'clock. So I figured nobody's going to come out to this thing. Like maybe I can get some deals. Over 1,000 people at this pods auction. I remember I saw one unit sell for $1,000 or $900 for $1,000. And it literally had a mattress, an old mattress, and 2 pillows in it. And the only thing I could figure is, like, you watch that TV show, Storage Wars, and even when they get a garbage unit, at the very last second, they slice open a pillow and there's a jar of 1902 Morgan, dollars. And I figure people must assume that, like, these mattresses are stuffed with money, because you can't even give away a mat. Nobody will even take a mattress because of all the bed bug scares and things like that these days. You're going to have to pay $200 to dispose of it.
Yeah, which is crazy, which is kind of funny because for some reason my wife talked to a lady and we were talking about, because we want to get rid of some mattresses, and we're like, but we don't want to pay the fee because it's like, $200 to get rid of mattresses. Well, one lady said all she did is she cut hers down the middle, just cut it and just took it all apart and threw it away individually like that and got away with it. And I'm like, well, son of a bitch, that's a good idea. Like, I didn't think like that. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna do that. I just want to touch base real quick on the chat. Shout out to Todd Kazuli, that's a subscriber of mine, and a lot of you, Finnegan is in here in the chat. And I just want to give a big shout out to you guys coming over here. I greatly appreciate having you guys aboard and rocking out with Rules for Rebels and myself. I appreciate you guys hanging out with us. But what you guys need to take from something like this, what we're doing right now, is we are educating the young entrepreneur. What we are doing is we are encouraging you guys to step away from video games, to step away from your normality in life, and to reevaluate your life, and to, maybe, you're looking for something. Maybe you're trying to figure out, how can I make money? How can I do this? How can I do that? That's where Rules for Rebels and Jackknife Finnegan are coming together as the one, and try to show you guys that there are other ways, other avenues to make money, we're showing you that different worlds can come together and show you guys that there are alternative routes to make money, to be successful, to do this, to do that. And that's what I hope you guys are taking away from this podcast or this live stream, is that I want you guys to think outside the box, to think, there are possibilities out there. That's why, I just want to touch base on that, because I know a lot of my people are coming in here, and I greatly appreciate having you. But and you guys might not be understanding, like, what the hell is going on here. But this is just us showing you that there are other ways of bringing in revenue or being successful at what you guys do. So I just want to touch base on that.
Well, and kind of piggybacking off what you said, something I'd really kind of like to encourage people to do. And this is something I've always kind of tried to do myself, but that really I kind of had a shift in my mind recently. I went to this Ecom Chicago event, and they kind of introduced the idea of entrepreneurship. So entrepreneurship would be kind of finding ways to turn yourself into a business, make money off your own hobbies and interests and things like that, and actually enjoy what you know. So I think they say 85% of people hate their jobs. I'm a big fan of Gary V. I don't know if anyone in here watches Gary V. But Gary was saying something recently, especially like in the entrepreneurship community, which I'm kind of in. There's kind of this whole like bullshit, like all these 16-year-old millionaires and, 50 grand isn't shit. I want to make, $50,000 a week. And what Gary kind of said in a recent video that I really connected with is like, most people hate their jobs. The average household income is 50 grand a year, 55 grand a year. If you could make 50, 60, 70 grand a year doing something that you love, whether that be playing video games, woodworking, flipping vintage video games, finding ways to make money off things that you're into. So with you, I mean, you got a channel where you're doing things that you love. You're cooking, you're playing video games, and that can be grown and monetized, and the podcast can have advertising, and you can make money doing things that you're already doing anyways. One thing I've been wanting to do a Side Hustle Tuesday episode about, a lot of people are offering themselves out there as video game consultants now. Have you heard anything about that?
No, but I am intrigued. What the hell does that even mean?
To some people it might sound kind of silly, but it's actually like people are making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. What kind of consulting. I don't know if it's, like I said, I'm not super into games, so I don't know if it's teaching people how to beat levels. I think a lot of it has to get started with maybe a successful live streamer working with other people who want to get started in live streaming, helping them get their equipment set up, how to run the chats and things like that.
That just sounds like some asshole just taking money for no reason, because in reality, in this business of what you and I do on YouTube, podcasting, this and that, you cannot teach what you do. You cannot teach what I do. I mean, you could give, parameters, you can give, basics to what to do to be successful. But if you don't have that oomph, you don't have that drive, you don't have something that you cannot teach these people, you're taking money for, you're just taking money for nothing. You're giving a service, but not providing a service. You know what I'm saying? Like, that just seems like a joke, because I can sit here all day long telling you, this is how you do a live stream. You know what I mean?
Right.
And you can do it. You can do it, but you might not get the people. I mean, it's all luck too. I mean, it's a lot of things, you guys. It's a lot of things.
There definitely are a lot of people out there kind of taking advantage of people. I see people charging thousands of dollars for an hour with them about Amazon FBA, and half these people don't even sell on Amazon FBA. They know enough to kind of talk a good game and get somebody to come in. So there are a lot of bad actors out there. I do notice a lot of people, for whatever reason, want a lot of hand holding. And I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. I think to some extent, like you said, you need to be a self-starter. You need to be willing to get out there. I think sometimes guidance can be a little bit good. I got a buddy who recently hired a mentor to, he's into copywriting. So, writing sales pages and the text on web pages. And he kind of attributes a lot of his success to that, but it was a lot more in depth. The guy worked with them. The guy helped him land a job. But yeah, for something like video games, I'm not sure if that would be valuable or not.
I can only imagine. All right, what you're going to need to do is you're going to need to get a PS4. You're going to need all the new games that are coming out next week, and you're going to need to pay me $1,000. And what I'll do is I'll stand in the room behind you and tell you what to say on live. I can only imagine what that guy would say. I bet he looks like a sleazy asshole, to be honest with you.
We know it's tough too with the video game stuff. So much of it comes down to personality too. You know what I mean? It's you could say with some other things there's a little bit more to learn, but yeah, I think with the gaming thing, it's very much so personality and managing the community, and I think you're probably only going to get that from hopping on there and doing it, which I imagine can be pretty intimidating.
I mean, you got to realize when you're hitting that broadcast button every day when I get up and I hit that broadcast button, I'm thinking I'm gonna have a sea load of people coming in here rocking with me, and sometimes you gotta suck it up. Sometimes there's only 4 people watching. Sometimes there's only 5 people watching, and then you get knocked down to reality real fast. I'm not gonna lie, because I'm sitting there and I'm used to having like 30 people watching or 20 people watching. Now all of a sudden I got 5 people. It knocks you down real fast, and you're like, oh my God. But you gotta take those 5 people and you got to take them on a journey. You know what I mean? You got to give them the jackknife experience. You got to make them feel, you got to give it to them, and that's what I try to do each and every time I go live, each and every time I make a video, each and every time I act like you guys are in the living room with me when I'm doing shit. You know what I'm saying? Like I am acting like I have an audience right here and I'm talking to you guys right here. And that's the way I do it every time I do it. And that's what people love, the experience. People love that because I don't cut nobody out. I don't cut nobody out. And that's just not me. Everybody's involved. Everybody's in. Let's do this. And that's the way I bring that intensity and that energy to each and everything I do each and every day. Because, kind of like when I do my podcast, I act like you're riding with me. You know what I'm saying? Like we're all in the car riding together in this big ass limousine talking shit. You know what I'm saying? And that's the way I rock my show. That's what I do.
Now, do you know, is with that Anchor app, going back to that, do you have the ability to do the podcast live? I did see something with a call-in feature, and the way that I saw it explained, it was almost pre-recorded things. But do you have the ability to do it live, like the Joe Rogan show, for example?
God, I don't know. I have to do my homework, and I know for sure. I know you're gonna do your homework, and then hopefully we can touch base and really figure it out. I'm gonna figure it out this weekend because God forbid if we could do a live call-in show. Oh my God, it's over. It's over. It's over. If we could do a call-in show, man, it's done. We're gonna run the podcast straight to the top. I'm not gonna lie, because if we get call-ins, oh my God, it's over.
That's what Jay Capola, who's in here now. Me and him had been talking for the past couple of weeks about launching a podcast, and I didn't know really how to get started with that stuff. So that was really exciting when I talked to you yesterday. And you told me about Anchor. I'm like, this thing is the shit. This thing, literally press a button and you're live. And like you said, you can always grow it later. You can have a website to accompany it, but this enables you to get rolling. By the way, Anchor, if you'd like to sponsor either me or Jackknife Finnegan's shows.
Well, no, actually, Anchor's a sponsorship. I gotta actually, if I put in the time to do the spot for it, they'll actually pay you. And I just haven't got around to it because what scares me about Anchor is the fact that it is the poor man's podcast. It's one of those set it and forget it type of things. We push a button, it's out there, it's everywhere. Now, what's going to happen is if we go out there and we promote Anchor, what's going to happen is it's going to be like the video game market. Everybody can get a PlayStation. Everybody can get an Xbox. And all they got to do is press one button. It's out there to the world. And now that, now we're promoting Anchor, you're going to get all these young kids and all these people. They're going to go out there. They're going to do the same thing. They're going to oversaturate the podcast world. And it's going to be a lost art. And only a few are going to remain. When the smoke clears, only a few are going to remain. And that's the only thing that makes me nervous about promoting Anchor is because you're going to get all these, these novices coming out and doing something that they have no idea what the hell they're doing. You know what I mean?
It's Flippin' Hustler says, looks like that's kind of cool. He's got a line of merch, which I know you and I were talking a little bit about the POD stuff yesterday, or print on demand. So yeah, it looks like Flippin' Hustler's doing some print on demand, I'm assuming, selling on eBay and operating a detail shop out of his house. So I like the multiple streams of income and the multiple hustles going on there.
Yeah, I mean, Flippin' Hustler, he's obviously on his game. He's got something going on, something huge. I did sub to that channel because I do want to go through. I'll be working later tonight, and while I'm at work, I'll be definitely checking out Flippin' Hustler, see what he's got going on. I think he's a good person. He's got something going on. Backseat driver, I think he brings something to the table as well. Jay Capola, sounds like he's one of your guys, and he wants to do live streaming. I think he's got something to bring to the table. He also got a guy in here named Ner. He does all eclectic Transformer stuff, all the old school Transformer toys, covers all the Transformer stuff. He brings something to the table. I think each and every one in this chat brings something very unique to the table, and that's awesome. That is amazing, and I'm glad that you guys are rocking with us because, I mean, knowledge is power, you guys, and the more we know, the more, it's amazing, because it's all networking. You know what I'm saying? This is all networking. And, to hold information from one another stunts growth. And I think that is very stupid. That's very dumb. And that just doesn't show you being a bright person. But when we all come together and we all, bring something to the table and we enable growth, I think that is smart. That's the best way of doing things, and that makes us successful. That makes you successful, and it just enables growth. Growth is the key. That's the thing. That's key. Versus stunting growth. That's not key. So I appreciate each and every one of you guys watching and bringing something to the table. You guys are amazing. Thank you so
You
much
know
for
what? That was kind of
rocking with
clever
us.
with the transformer thing. My girlfriend's got an obsession with like the '90s. She loves everything 90s, and I've seen a couple people doing some cool things on either Shopify stores or eBay. Getting a lot of these older action figures, video games, even various toys and things from when we were kids. Like somebody I saw had a shop set up, and I forget all the stuff I saw in it, but I think they had Zubas. I thought that was kind of neat, like some old school jean jackets. You remember Skip-Its, the thing on your ankle that
yeah.
They had Skip-Its. They had, I remember another thing, you like sat on it and spun yourself until you got dizzy. But they had a lot of that like old stuff from probably when we were kids, and kind of have I think now that people are older and have money and have jobs, people are kind of getting a lot back into a lot of those kind of vintage toys and video games. And shoot, I think I've done a Side Hustle Tuesday episode too about people who are flipping vintage video games, old Atari and Nintendo stuff. And
just a throwback. We'll call Skip it the original house arrest.
Right.
That's where house arrest got their idea from. They're like, damn, this is a good idea.
But I wonder if I think it was Flippin was talking about reselling. Lately, I've been hitting I've been hitting a lot of these. What do you call them? Estate sales. And you find some cool older stuff at the estate sales, whether be toys, games, all that type of stuff.
Those estate sales are insane. You want to hear a story? My father-in-law goes to estate sales, and dude, I'm not kidding you. He went to an estate sale. We came home. Me and my wife came home from dinner, and he was babysitting, my kids. And we come home, and my kids are playing with these stuffed animals, these stuffed teddy bears, right? And they're playing with them, and they're like doing fucking wrestling moves with them and this and that. My father-in-law was like, I got these from an estate sale. So my wife immediately looked this shit up, right? They're playing with $4,000 teddy bears, buddy. That came from when teddy bears were first made. That's where these teddy bears came from. We have them down in our basement right now. They're like $5,000 a piece on eBay right now. No bullshit, but we're not selling them. We're keeping them. We should sell them because who knows, the trend, who knows? Maybe they will die. But these are like fucking Gundam. I mean, these are like top name, like I don't know what the name of them are. They're downstairs in my basement right now from the original teddy bear. The original. And my wife found that out immediately. She packed that shit up. She ran that shit downstairs. She went to Walmart, bought them 2 $5 teddy bears, and they were playing with them the whole night.
Now, what are these like? What's the brand or what's the character or whatever?
It's a teddy bear. I don't know what it is. It's downstairs. I gotta go downstairs. You want me to go downstairs to get them or no?
Oh no, don't worry. Yeah. Don't worry about that. It's funny you said. I actually just sold an old vintage Teddy Ruxpin the other day that I picked up at one of the estate sales. The battery acid had melted inside of the battery case, so it didn't work. But that went for a good buck. I saw a good buddy of mine, good member of the channel, Roger Hanks, Hawk Out. That's kind of his line. He said he collects 12-inch GI Joes from the 60s and 70s.
Hey, shout out to Roger Hanks. Hell yeah, bro. 60s, 70s. Damn. GI Joes. Wow, that means you got an awesome snake eyes. I can only imagine what that fucker looks like. That'd be awesome. Those bears are from the 1930s. Yeah, we got those. We got 2 of them. We got a gray one and I think a blue one. I don't know though. I got it downstairs. Need any advice I can make? Tell you things. Yeah, shout out to you guys rocking with us, man. I greatly appreciate that, and that's awesome because then that shows, maybe Rules for Rebels. Maybe we got something here, Johnny. We might have something here. I don't know. This might be a good thing what we got going on here, and I appreciate you having me. I appreciate you reaching out to me. That was awesome. I was actually, when you reached out to me, I was at my son's karate, and I get an email, and I've been getting a lot of emails on that thing. People want me to promote their product. People want me to go on and try to sell their product.
Right.
And I kind of don't want to do that because my thing is I'm a real person. I don't want to promote something to you guys if it's garbage. You know what I'm saying? And that's what makes me nervous is I don't want to promote bullshit to my subscribers. And a lot of the shit that they want me to promote, I'm not going to lie, is bullshit. And I'm like, nah. So I'm kind of like, nah, I'm pushing it to the side. And then all of a sudden I seen you and I'm like, what the hell? This is a guy who's in my comments And so I check you out, and I'm like, oh my God, yeah, I want to definitely. And I'm at my son's karate, and I was like, oh my God, you know, hell yeah, let's do this. And I mean, we literally, you literally like messaged me a couple days ago, and now look at us. We're on here, we're banging this out, and this is awesome. So big shout out to you, man, for getting in touch with me. I appreciate you doing that. That's
Oh,
awesome.
thank you. I've been enjoying your channel. On that topic, I was kind of curious to ask you because again, kind of getting back to a little bit of the business stuff. Maybe kind of what your plans are with the channel, where you see it go, kind of growing to, different ways to monetize. Because I'm kind of very similar to you. I don't want to promote bullshit because I feel like a lot of people view their community or their viewers as a piggy bank. And I'm very thankful that I have an awesome kind of community of people and followers. And I don't want to shit on people. I don't want to pitch them bad products. And I get the same thing. I get people like, do you want to make a video about our flashlight? And I'm like, I'm a business and sort of business current events channel. Like, why am I going to be promoting a flashlight or a dog leash? Or but there's at the same time, there's a lot of money in sponsorship stuff if it's something that you actually believe in or use. So I guess, what are you doing now, and where do you plan on going in terms of like YouTube monetization, any sponsored deals, like merchandise, any interest in like rolling out your own controller or anything like that? Like, you have any plans for that type of stuff?
I do have my own merchandise in the works. I have seven prototypes that I'm working on for merch. Super excited about. It's really cool, but that'll eventually get rolled out through time. Possibly by the end of the month or next month. That'll be out there. I got merch coming. Super excited about that. By the end of June, I want to have at least 5,000 subscribers. That's my goal. 5,000 subscribers by the end of June is the goal. I'm actually in the process of trying to get a sponsorship with a gaming chair company, which seems really cool. And I'm actually in the process of, like kind of like what you did on you did a video yesterday, stating how you want artists to put things behind here. You
No,
want
yeah.
people to send you shirts and this and that. Well, I'm actually in the process of working out a deal with a shirt company that wants to send me all these shirts. And I'm like, well, hell yeah, I'll wear those on because I live stream a lot. And they're like, hell yeah, we'll send you all these shirts. Can you wear them during your live stream? And I actually like the design. So I'm like, hell yeah, I'll do that. I have no problem doing that. Now get this. This is kind of weird. This is kind of cool. Is I got rappers, actually real rappers sending me their shit, and they want me to put them on my live stream. And that's kind of a weird avenue. And I'm kind of like, okay, I'm kind of cool with that. But yeah, so I'm kind of intrigued by that as well. I don't know how YouTube will take it. I don't know if they're going to try to give me a copyright strike. I don't know. But I got rappers that are like, hey, man, your live streams are awesome. Your channel is awesome. We want to send you our music. Can you play our music in the background while you're live streaming? And I'm like, well, hell yeah, that's genius. And then I was thinking, well, hey, I do a podcast. And they're like, well, yeah, we'll let you put our stuff on our podcast as well. And I'm like, wow, that's cool. You know what I mean? So I'm kind of digging into that as well. So I kind of got a bunch of fires in the bunch of cookies in the jar. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I just dropped a comment. It was with you bringing up the art thing. Jay Capola, he does, I think, photography. I forget the name of what it's actually called, but these kind of cool images. And I actually got to go check my PO box later on today. He sent a painting out to me the other day, so I'm interested in seeing that. But he had commented back on Instagram, so I just dropped a link to his shop. If anyone wants to check that out, I think he just rolled it out. I believe he's going to be adding more to it as well. But yeah, he's got some neat stuff on there.
Oh yeah, I'll definitely check that out. Always kinetic paintings. Hell yeah, I'll have to check that out. And
Yeah.
If the price is right, maybe you'll be rocking some Jackknife Finnegan, brother.
Well, it's kind of cool with what you do. I notice a lot of people will roll out a product kind of along with what they do. So for me, I don't know that would necessarily fit unless I made like some type of software that helps you design T-shirts or do something else. But for you could potentially, roll out your own branded, gaming mouse or chair or something else. But yeah, I mean, it's always good going through other people too to save yourself all the headaches of running the business and just focusing on what you love as well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm like right now I'm in the process of working. I know this is kind of goofy, but my merch line. I'm trying to work on it. It's gonna be called. I don't know. I'm indifferent to the name, but what it is it's gonna be me or my wife, because my wife is a good drawer. I'm not really a good drawer, but if I put my mind to it, it will be amazing. But I'm gonna do like sketch art, and then try to put that onto like clothes and call it
Okay.
like sketchy arts, or you know what I mean, like something clever with that, and see where that goes. That's the kind of like my idea that I want to go with. And I also ran across a graffiti artist that does T-shirts, and I think that'd be phenomenal to get a graffiti artist on some shirts and stuff, because they are phenomenal artists out there. And there's a lot of untapped talent out there that we haven't seen yet, and they're coming through the drones, and I appreciate each and every one of them. You know what I mean?
Are you are you good at all with graphic design, or do you have some people that you're working with, or?
I mean, if you give me the program and the computer, I can do it. Yeah, I can make stuff look awesome. I can do really well at those type of things, but no, not right now. I don't have any of that type of stuff.
That's what I'm. I do Amazon merch and stuff, and Teespring, Spreadshirt. I make a good buck. I'm not an artist. I really have no graphic design training. I do a lot of my stuff just simple base text designs and things like that. Like a lot of my stuff is just kind of churning, probably quantity over quality, just because that's what tends to sell on Amazon. But I'm slowly kind of starting to, try to spend a little bit of time every day, kind of learning affinity and things like that. But yeah, if there's any graphic artists out there in the chat, or even who watched this video after the fact, feel free to reach out to me. I'm actually looking for some graphic designers now, and I don't know about you, but if I'm always looking for different people, and I'd really like to get somebody who watches my channel or follows it, because I've hired a couple other guys, and a lot of times I'll tell people, you kind of have creative freedom, do something that kind of captures what I'm doing. But when you just find somebody off, out of the Philippines or off Upwork or something, they don't necessarily get like me and the channel and what it's about. So I was kind of hoping to find somebody who is somewhat aware of me and what I do, so that they can kind of craft something that kind of fits what I'm about and what I do.
And to add to that, I'm looking for the same thing as well. So feel free to message me. You can get a hold of me. Just go to my channel, and I have all my information. You can get a hold of me. And if the price is right and the work is good, I have no problem paying you. Honestly, I don't. I don't like paying for garbage, and I don't expect garbage. And if you come to me, I assume you don't have garbage. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of stuff I like to do. I don't like to dilly dally with, goofy shit. So if you guys got some real stuff, feel free to send it my way, and I will keep in contact with you and get a hold of you.
I started using a service called onlinejobs.ph, and what it is, it's kind of a freelance service. You can get people to work really, really cheap, and some really talented artists, and everybody will send you a portfolio. I'm finding it's mostly people out of the Philippines. I'm finding like maybe on the low end, $180 a month to maybe as much as $700 a month, probably average being $300, $400, $500. But I don't think you need somebody full time, but you could potentially get a full time 40-hour a week graphic designer. And it's something that I've been kind of digging into for a lot of my T-shirt sales and things like that. But yeah, like you said, a lot of times when you go to Fiverr, they're similar sites, the work you get's kind of spotty, and when people are working for that cheap, I feel bad making somebody redo something over and over for $4. So a lot of times I'll just say fuck it and just eat it as a loss. But yeah, it's frustrating when you pay for stuff that isn't really worthwhile. Backstreet Sketch. I saw somebody above was talking about designing custom. I was meaning to jump on that earlier. Designing custom action figures and things like that.
Oh yeah, I've seen some people that do that, and they are amazing, man. I seen one dude that does that. He's actually from Mexico, and holy shit, he's doing the whole Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle line with his spin on it. And my God, and you know what's crazy is as soon as he releases that shit, he's on Instagram. I got to get his name to you, but as soon as he releases that, he sells out immediately.
Really?
Oh my God! But it's so cool. I mean, his shit is so cool. I mean, he offered. I mean, don't get me wrong; it is a pretty penny, but he sells out. I mean, literally, he puts that shit out there. He's like the Supreme clothing line.
Okay, yeah.
You know how they don't have no stores or nothing. They just put shit out there and boom, it goes.
Yeah, first day.
That's how this guy is. He has like a whole line of like he did the whole He-Man thing. That shit just went through the roof. He's doing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and when he drops a batch, I mean, literally, he drops a batch and I go to buy one, it's gone. I'm like, Jesus, where'd it go? I mean, he is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
You know, I was just going to say the same thing. My man Jay Capola just threw out. I don't know if you're familiar with Chris, the thrift shop hustler. He has a channel kind of about, I would say it's mainly about, it's graphic design and t-shirt selling and kind of eBay flipping and things like that. But he does some custom things. And I think he actually takes existing action figures and kind of redoes them or repaints them or whatever. But he's done some really cool stuff. I know he made one of Gary V and actually made the packaging and everything. And if you ever watch a Gary V video, in his backdrop in his office, the thrift shop hustler, Chris, actually did that design. And on his Instagram, he posts a lot of the stuff that he does. So he does a lot of that. And another guy, there's another eBayer some of you guys might like. His name's Glenn Zubia. He's real big into merch. He's a graphic designer, kind of an artist. And he actually got his start. I thought this was kind of funny. You remember the starting lineup action figures? They didn't make his favorite players. So as a kid, he would repaint everything and create the players that he wanted, as opposed to, normally it's only the big one or two players on the team. And that's actually how he got started, with making them for himself and then selling them on eBay after the fact, with that, which I thought was kind of
neat. That's funny. Oh, what the hell? My dogs are barking at nothing. That's good. But yeah, that's funny. He's like, I'll make my own damn toys. And then look, he's famous. I mean, he's making his own shit and making money. I mean, not necessarily famous, but I mean, it takes an idea like that where he's like, okay, well, if the stores ain't selling it, I can't get it. I'm just going to do it. And the next thing you know, boom. You know what I mean?
Well, what's kind of cool about him? He's actually gotten pretty big. I've been following him for a while. He does a podcast every week called Merch Minds about like selling on Amazon merch and t-shirts, which is another fun kind of low barrier to entry thing to get into. Like for any of your fans who like video games and things like that, if you want to do, you kind of got to be careful with a lot of the fan art when you're using other characters, but even kind of more general things, different things. You can throw t-shirts up on Printful and Amazon Merch or Redbubble, Teespring, a lot of these sites, and no inventory, no cost to you. But create a line of something around people with a similar interest group or things that you're passionate about. That's another kind of fun way to make money.
Yeah, I was looking at Teespring and I was looking at that. I really think Teespring is a good move. I know a lot of people I talk to, they don't like it because they take a cut. But you got to understand, you're paying for what you get. A lot of these people don't understand. A lot of people think they're entitled. And it's crazy because you got to realize when you do Teespring, you're paying for what you get. Yeah, they're taking a cut. Okay, but then understand this. You're not going out buying the shirts. You're not going out buying the design. You're not squeegeeing the design on there. You're not paying for the materials. You're not paying to ship it. It's a one-stop shop. You sit there, you make the design, you put it out there, boom. And then now all you do is you go in, you pay for it, and then they take care of all the rest. All you did was brought the design to the table, and now they're doing everything else. And then they're taking a cut. I'm totally fine with them taking a cut because I'm not housing the shit. I'm not materialized. I don't have none of that at my house. You just do it over there. And that's what I love about Teespring. It's an amazing idea.
You know what else is kind of neat too? Amazon Merch is another great one. Because Amazon is this behemoth, the most popular e-commerce store online. They get a ton of traffic. So Amazon Merch is a great one. And that one's really hands off. You just put your designs up there, and I think by default you're making about $5.38 per shirt. Teespring, like you mentioned, is really neat because they have this integration with YouTube where you can, once it's opened up for you, you can connect these two things. And I only have like 3 shitty shirts below my thing. I actually got to add to it. I just kind of wanted to test it out. But I think probably below this video, you're probably seeing like a shop button for t-shirts. So I actually got to get around to building that out because that's kind of a powerful tool. And I don't know if you've messed with Printful at all, but what's kind of neat about Printful, their prices are pretty high. But one of the cool things is it integrates with most popular e-commerce platforms, whether it be Shopify, Etsy, etc. So you can set everything up automated. You can set up an Etsy store, connect it to Shopify or connect it to Printful. And when something sells on Etsy, you're not having to go manually type in your customer's address. That's automatically being sent over to Printful. Once Printful prints that shirt and ships it out, they automatically put the tracking number over into Etsy. So you can get these stores running 100% passively that you literally never have to touch again.
Nice. I have to look into. I have to take note of all these things that you're telling me. And this Gary V guy, I've never heard of Gary V, but I'm kind of intrigued. I will definitely have to check him out as well.
You know what?
I always.
He's a good guy. He's kind of big picture stuff more than tactics. And I think one of your people, I think, said he's a little bit repetitive, which it's motivating, but at the same time, it is a little bit of the same stuff. But there's a lot of smaller YouTubers who have some great kind of more tactical and kind of informational type content on that type of stuff.
All right, I'm gonna let my dogs out here real quick because they are getting antsy as hell. So let me let these. Oh yeah. Oh my god. Oh boy. Yeah. We'll let them. You know what's funny about them guys, my dogs, is they'll sit there, they'll bark, and they'll do this and that, and then it's cold out. I'm in Minnesota. It's really cold out, and what they're gonna do is they're going to go out there, they're going to bark, they're going to waste their energy, and then about 5 minutes now, they're going to be at the door crying to come in. That's what they're going to do. So I'll have to get up in a little bit here and get them in the house, but because I don't want them to freeze to death, but that's what's going to happen. They're going to sit there, bark, and act like some tough guys, and then they're going to be wanting to come in a minute. But, yeah, that's crazy.
I know you got to get off to work a little bit later, and I got a few things I got to take care of. So maybe we'll kind of turn it into a little Q&A or something if anyone else wants to add anything, and then we can kind of start wrapping it up. I know Flippin' Hustler mentioned he's on Teespring and has a few things on Amazon, which is cool. And then Wandering Marine said, "How is that going? I was considering having a shop to make my own merch using online services." You know, I was Wandering Marine. For me, Amazon merch has been by far the most powerful platform. Up until recently, I was consistently making, $900 to $1,100 per month off merch, which, aside from making the designs, is very passive. One of the unfortunate things with merch, which I was explaining to you yesterday, is there's kind of a flaw in the system where anybody can get anybody else's designs taken down. So I had kind of a bad actor, like we were talking about before, kind of fuck with my shop. And I wound up having a bunch of designs unrightfully taken down, and it's kind of turned into a shit show there. But aside from merch, Redbubble is a really good one. Spreadshirt. If you're making designs, you might as well throw them out across all these platforms. And even if it's only $20 on this platform, $50 on that platform, and it all starts adding up and kind of turns into a nice little semi-passive income there.
Yeah, hell yeah. That's a good thing. It's awesome that you had that going. I was just looking at the chat, and then I was just looking at the likes, and I want to give a shout to the 33 likes. I appreciate you guys liking up the stream, you guys. Appreciate that a lot. But yeah, if you guys got any questions, feel free to ask either Rules for Rebels or myself. We'll help you out as best we can. I know we've been avoiding the chat, and I apologize. We've been digging in the chat a little bit here and there. Calling out some interesting points. So if you guys got anything you guys want to ask, anything you guys want to say, feel free to shoot that out there, and we'll get to that as well. It's been a great live stream. It's been a phenomenal live stream. So feel free to ask us anything. I'm sure we can do what we got to do.
I noticed Nair talked about cartoons. One thing just to be aware of, Amazon is super strict about anything branded. So cartoons, any brands, I mean, you're not even allowed to, there's a lot of weird words that you can't say. If you say the word hot sauce in a description of an Amazon merch shirt, you potentially could get your account suspended. They're very, very strict. But then you go over to some other platforms like Teespring and Redbubble, and there's a lot of people doing like fan art type stuff, which technically isn't allowed, but they get away with it. So things like, I was never into that rapper, but XXX Tenacion and a lot of these SoundCloud rappers, like people are putting their pictures on t-shirts and making a good amount of money. And outside of merch, most platforms don't really care about that. So you could probably get away with some cartoon stuff.
That's crazy. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan. I didn't know much about the SoundCloud rapper phenomenon. Apparently that's a big thing nowadays, the SoundCloud rapper phenomenon. But to me, rappers are Dr. Dre, Snoop Dogg, Tupac, Eazy-E, I'm an old guy, so I enjoy the old rap. I'm not a fan of the new style, so.
Wait, I listened to DJ Vlad a little bit. I don't know if you ever watch him. He's got some interesting interviews with a lot of rap guys, and a lot of people say the same thing as you. A lot of people say, rap has kind of turned. I mean, look at Tekashi 6ix9ine, who's like kind of the biggest shit right now, or was until he went to jail. And it's not really about the music; it's about being a social media personality. And I've seen a couple people on his show mention that like the music these days isn't great. They're just the most outrageous guys who can get the most Instagram likes, you know?
Yeah, it's sad. It's sad because it's such a rich culture. It honestly is. Hip hop is a rich culture, and it is such. I mean, to old hip hop heads that hold, you got to come with your rhyme game. It wasn't about who had the fattest beat. It wasn't about who had the most money. It was about if you could rhyme and if you had a rhythm and if you came with it. And nowadays it's pretty much like you said. It's garbage. It says no one cares about rhyming. No one really cares about the beat no more. No one really cares about the beat no more. It just matters if you look like a goddamn weirdo and you got, fake ass money phone. You know what I mean? Where they got the $100 bills and they're like, oh, talking into like a money phone. I mean, that's just stupid. I mean, it's sad because it's such a rich culture. It's an amazing culture. But the young kids nowadays, they're just taking a deuce on it, not caring. And it's unfortunate. We're losing a great culture of music. It was what we're doing.
You know what? I had one funny thing I wanted to ask you, and then I was going to move on. I saw we had a question about favorite childhood toys, but have you heard of Little Dicky?
Yeah, I've heard of Little Dicky.
You know what's funny? That's actually the last concert that I went to was a Little Dicky concert, and it's his.
Oh my god, you went to it?
We know what's funny? He had some viral video on YouTube, and that was pretty funny. I think it was like Lemmy Freak or something like that, and I saw he was coming to the Concord movie theater, which isn't too far from me, or the Concord Theater. So the tickets were fairly cheap. I was like, fuck it, we'll go see him. And it was actually, I kind of viewed him at first as kind of a Weird Al Yankovic type guy, which to an extent he is. But the guy can actually rap, and he puts on like a hell of a show. He's bringing people from the audience up, and it was actually I was quite impressed. It was pretty good.
He's very talented. His rhyme game is good. His beat game is good. But why name yourself Lil Dicky in such a predominant testosterone driven culture? You know what I'm saying? Because in rap, it's always like, oh, I got the bigger dick. It's always like big dick swinging. You know what I mean? That's the thing. But then you got him coming up, and he's like, I'm Lil Dicky, and it's like, oh god, why name yourself Lil Dicky?
You know what's kind of funny? I think that's one of the kind of funny things about him. He's so kind of like self-deprecating and making fun of himself, and then he was kind of the anti-rapper with that whole save that money thing. But yeah, he's kind of an interesting story. I think he used to work for NBC, kind of doing like the pre-roll ads for like the NBA playoffs and things like that. And I think he kind of learned marketing from the inside, and then kind of was like just started kind of fucking around on YouTube with kind of all the knowledge of marketing and making things go viral, and kind of was able to spin this into this corporate job into kind of doing his own thing. So yeah, he's kind of an interesting guy.
Yeah, he's a smart guy. I'll give him that. He's a smart guy. But why? Why the name?
What is Nair was asking, what's one toy from your childhood you wish you could get back?
From one child, man, God. Honestly, I wish I could have back all my Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, man. I had everything. I had all of them. I had the sewer. I had Shredder's, what was the thing? The portal. It wasn't called the portal, but it started with a P. I had that. I had the cars. I had everything. And nowadays, you know how much those Ninja Turtles are going for? Those ones that I had, the whole entire collection of, we paid what, $5 for them? They're going for like $20 a piece or $30 a piece. And I'm like, what? And I kept mine in such good condition. I'm like, oh my God, it makes me sick. I wish I had that, man. I wish I had all my Ninja Turtles.
Flippin says Green Machine. I remember I used to be big into He-Man and Ninja Turtle. I remember when I was a kid, whenever I'd have to go to the doctor and get shots, my mom would buy me a He-Man if I wasn't a baby about it. So I used to do He-Man, and I was into Ninja Turtles as well.
Oh, He-Man was such a great line. Oh my God, I loved He-Man. And they had the coolest. Tell me they did not have the coolest castles. My God. Skeletor's castle, dude, was amazing. I loved that shit. And then the Moss Man character, he was amazing. The guy with the lockjaw, he was amazing. Even that stupid little cat, the green cat, and then they came up with a purple cat. Those were amazing, too.
Did you ever have? I was just thinking about. I remember. I know you're a big wrestling fan. I forget what they used to call them. They had a whole line of them. But I remember for one of my birthdays, someone gave me a Macho Man Randy Savage. They were like little. I guess you call them stuffed animals, for lack of a better word. But you could wrestle with them on the commercials and stuff.
The Rock'em Sock'em, yeah, the plush dolls. Hell yeah! I got two of them downstairs. I got one John Cena and one The Rock, because they call them like Basham Buddies or some shit. And I bought them for my kid, and I had those when I was younger. But mine was Hulk Hogan and Ultimate Warrior.
You know what? I was just looking for it to see if I could find it for our little stream here today. When I was young, I was into wrestling. I was never like huge, but I was always a wrestling fan. And I had the Macho Man. I remember when I was a kid, my dad took me to some wrestling event in Chicago, and this is back in the days of like Andre the Giant, Hulk Hogan, kind of that whole crew. And I couldn't find it, but I actually still have a. They used to sell these Hulk Hogan shirts. It was kind of a mustard yellow shirt. It said Hulk Hogan, and it was like ripped all on. I used to rip the shit off. It was ripped all over the place, and I was probably, I don't know, 5 or something. But the thing to this day still fits. It must have been huge on me. It still fits me to this day, but I couldn't find it.
Hulkamania, brother. What are you gonna do when Hulkamania runs wild on you?
I see Flippin' Hustler says My Green Machine. Jay Capola says OG Voltron Lions. I remember those things.
We got Jimmy Superfly. Hell yeah, Superfly Snuka. That's what's up. Hell yeah. Nerner, I appreciate you stopping by, man. Thank you for hanging out with us.
Yeah, thank you, Nerner. It was nice chatting with you. And let's see, which sport do well?
Hey, what up, CKR Gaming? How you doing, man? Welcome to a live stream. If you guys got any questions, feel free to ask us questions. Well, we got Wandering Marine. Which sport do well? I'm just trying to see what we got. We got CKR Gaming. He says he's late. Well, CKR Gaming, what do you got? You got a question? Feel free to ask. We're willing to take questions right now because we're kind of getting down to winding it down. So if you guys got any questions for us, I would appreciate it if you guys put them in the chat. Let us know.
Iceberg asking if have you ever made money off blue lots? I'm not really familiar with. I don't know if is that like a liquidation site or an auction site or something like that.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious. What the hell is blue lots? I don't even know what that is.
Actually, I got some eBay best offers coming in here right now.
Oh, I see right now that trending right now on the internet is $15 handbags. So anybody in the live chat wants $15 handbags, that's trending right now. Make sure you get your handbags.
Yep, liquidation. There's some great liquidation sites out there. There's also kind of a lot of scams and stuff. But yeah, I mean, there's some cool sites where you can buy return pallets of Amazon merchandise. Most of the major retailers do return pallets too. I think Walmart, Target. If you do a little bit of Googling, you can find some of those. There's actually a company a little bit west out of Chicago, a little bit of a ride, but it's called Slybuy. And what's kind of cool about them, it's they'll have everything from cameras to, they tend to have a lot more stuff from like Home Depots and Menards, pallets of lighting and homewares, but they do get electronics and video games. And there you can actually go in there in person. Though if you buy something on the auction, you can go in there. When you pick it up, they'll let you plug it in, try it out, and make sure it works before you take it home, as opposed to a lot of those other places where you're just buying it sight unseen and maybe it works, maybe it doesn't.
Those pallets, by the way, are a good deal. If you guys could get your hand on some pallets, that are worthy, you guys can make a really good buck off those as well. I highly recommend checking out how to get pallets. Trust me, they are good money makers. Where
can I get the returns? I want to do a return box video, maybe. Returns. We know it's you'd have to buy more than one. Normally you're buying kind of quantity of stuff, but after this video actually drops and posts, it'll take a little bit to process. I'll hop on Google and do a little bit of search, and I'll find some of the ones that I've used in the past and some of the ones that I've heard a little bit about, and I'll go ahead and drop those in the comment down below, because there are some kind of scam, kind of bullshit liquidation companies, but there's also plenty of good ones, and some of them are actually like direct from Target or whatever else, not even third parties. And in some of them, you're having to buy some you're buying pallets, other ones you're buying entire semi-truck loads.
Which is crazy because you have no idea what the hell you're buying.
Jake Capola says he linked up with a guy who's been getting a lot of Home Depot and Lowe's lots from the site. Yeah, I think I made a video about slide buy. If you're moving into a new house and you need some stuff, or if you have like friends who are property flippers, handymen, it can be really attractive. But otherwise, for me, like just in terms of trying to flip to make money, I mean, I got one buddy who's a handyman, but like, you know, if I get a pallet of 60 outdoor wall lights or ceiling fans or something like that, it's really labor intensive to flip those on Craigslist and meet up with people, and it's not always you know, money wise feasible to be shipping those heavy items out. But yeah, there's definitely some money there if you don't mind doing some legwork or got some contacts like in the trades and stuff like that.
Hey, big shout out to Retro Gaming. I seen him sneak in there. He is he's actually a top 10 subscriber of my channel. His name is TJ. So big shout out to Retro Gaming for making his way over. He's a young kid that's actually really cool about that kid. He's a young kid. He's going to school. He's getting set himself up for college, and he's going to be building houses and shit. So shout out to him for staying in school and you know, doing his thing and taking all the hard classes. So I see you in there, TJ.
Does he do a retro gaming channel? I know we were talking about some of the retro games earlier.
He doesn't really do retro gaming. He did do a lot of like Siege, Rainbow Six stuff, but he kind of got away from doing video games, and now he's focusing on his schoolwork. So big shout out to focusing on your schoolwork, because that's more important than playing video games. And I know I shouldn't tell you that about my, you know, because I'm about the video game business, but school comes before video games. So always stay on the path.
So Wandering Marine says he does some stuff with surplus MREs and things like that. I know the kind of military niche and things like that. That's a pretty big one. And there's a lot of crossover of that with people into like the whole prepping thing too. So yeah, I can imagine that's pretty good. You would probably be a good YouTube channel, trying different, just like unboxing MREs or eating MRE, you know, all this weird kind of food niches. You'd probably make a channel out of, today we're going to be eating beef stroganoff, and, you know, you pour the water into the pouch or whatever else. And I bet you that'd actually be pretty big.
The MRE challenge. Now, just so you guys know, you heard that first on Rules for Rebels. Just so you know that. You heard that first here. So if that should become something big, you can send checks this way.
I wonder. I'm gonna look it up right now. I wonder if there's. I wouldn't be shocked if there's a channel
challenge. Like that. The MRE challenge.
You know what?
That's funny.
Steve 1989 MRE. Looks like a bunch of MRE unboxings. Yeah, there's everything out there. Have you seen? I forget if we talked about him. There's a young kid. His name's Nicholas something. And he kind of became sort of a viral sensation. I know Leon Lush did a video about him. Kind of a cute younger kid. He did for his 70 subscribers. He camped out in his backyard in a blizzard, and he kind of wound up, you know, because people kind of thought it was cute that with such a small number of subscribers, he's still kind of going out and doing something for him. And like overnight, this kid blew up and had like 204. I think now he's up to 300 and something thousand subscribers.
Damn.
Survival and camping companies are sending him stuff, and real nice kid. He's pretty good on camera, but he's not necessarily what you'd think the typical YouTuber of or whatever. And he doesn't have any front, and it's kind of cool to see just, you know, people kind of take off and do something that they like and succeed at it. So yeah, he's kind of a neat kid.
That's interesting. Huh.
Yeah, Roger just said there's a few channels out there doing the MRE thing. Yeah, I saw with the 1989 MREs, but yeah, it seems like a bunch of, Steve MRE seems to be the big guy with those.
Steve MRE. That's funny.
He's dominating search, man. You look up anything with him, he's got like the first 20 spots on YouTube.
Well, at least he's doing something right. Shout out to Steve MRE.
Just don't eat the chicken a la king. I think that's a reference to some movie or something, isn't it?
That does not sound good. Any chicken a la king out of a MRE, I'm running.
YouTube has it. Wandering Machine said he tried that for a while, but too many people doing it. You know, you never know. It probably is. You know, a lot of things are saturated, but Wandering Marine, man, like only one person can kind of bring your personality and your angle to something. So yeah, don't be afraid to try something.
Yeah, I mean, in this business, you got to realize in YouTube and video games and live streaming, it is all saturated. It is all saturated. And podcasts will become saturated. It will honestly become saturated, and that's why you gotta bring something to the table. You gotta bring, you bring something to the table. You bring personality. You come together, and hopefully it clicks. And next thing you know, boom, you're good. You know what I'm saying? So you gotta try. To say that it's saturated, the idea has been done, and not try does not do you any justice. So you need to get out there, try it, see what happens.
You know, this is kind of totally unrelated. I think these guys actually parlayed it into a TV show after starting on YouTube. But do you remember those Canadian guys who they would go to like 5 different fast food restaurants? They'd get like 50 Big Macs, like 100 tacos, and they'd make like a lasagna with like layer of Big Macs, Big Mac sauce. And, you know, they were very like animated with what they were doing, but they would make these disgusting, I think it was someone drop it in the comments, epic meals or something like that.
I've never seen that, but it'd be interesting.
They started on YouTube, and I think they actually got like a TV show with FX, Epic Mealtime. The Phenom. Thanks for coming with that. Yeah, Epic Mealtime. I think they briefly parlayed it into like an FX TV show, although I don't think it lasted too long.
Shout out to the Phenom, man. Phenom is our Google guy. That's our Google guy right there. Shout out to the Phenom, man. Coming through with the Googles.
Roger says he got a chicken beak in his chicken a la king one time. That's no good.
Does not sound good.
If I had the following of some of these people in the video game or YouTube niche, I would start my own site and lead them there and make money off ads. Well, yeah, man, that's really what YouTube's all about. You know, a lot of people are making money off of ads. You got people doing, and that's kind of one of the cool things, you know, especially with what Jackknife's doing. You know, to be able to you know, find a way to kind of make money or create a business off of something that you enjoy doing anyway, and something that you love, or a topic that you're passionate about, is awesome. So, you know, whether that be building some type of community, rolling a product out in an area that you like, you know, attention and watch time and views is kind of the currency of the future. So if you can find a community who kind of shares your interest, you know, there's money in just having that attention and kind of leasing it out to video game companies or whatever else. I guess.
Yeah, I mean, that is the goal. I mean, a lot of people, when they start YouTube, they'll be like, "Oh, I just want to do this." But the end goal, at the end of the day, it is to make money. It is to, you know, support what we do, support our channels. Does that mean now some people, they take it, they run with it, and they try to nickel and dime you through everything in YouTube, which is crazy. But then you get some people that are real, where they're like, you know, the reason why you have ads when you come in here is because, you know, you are supporting the channel. And if you can't donate through Super Chat, well, then we put the ads there because not a lot of people can donate through Super Chat. So then you watching the ad is a way that we make money as well. And it's just your way of trying to support the channel. I mean, you guys got to realize at the end of the day, you know, we're doing this to, you know, because this is what we want to do. We want to do YouTube. We want to do, you know, entrepreneurship, entrepreneur type things, and make ourselves a business. And at a business, you unfortunately, it involves money. You know what I'm saying? You don't know any other businesses that don't involve money. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, we are a business. You know what I mean? You got to think like that as well. So.
Now, have you messed around with any of the, I don't know if we didn't really talk about this. I don't know if you ever got into like cryptocurrency or Bitcoin in the past, but have you explored, I think it could be good for anyone who's into kind of gaming and things like that. Have you ever messed around or heard about like sites like Steemit or anything like that?
No, I have not. I have to check that out as well.
Steemit's kind of turned into a shit show, but the concept behind it, I'm sure people are at least vaguely familiar with like Bitcoin. Due to a lot of the issues that some people run into on YouTube with copyright infringement claims, YouTube taking down certain content, censoring certain things, a lot of these newer sites, whether it be bit.tube, smoke.io, Steemit, DTube, they run off the blockchain, right? Like similar technology to like cryptocurrency. So there's no central authority. Nobody can censor anything. Nothing can be taken down. And because it's kind of built on a tokenized blockchain, when people upvote your content, the same way somebody might give us a thumbs up on YouTube, you earn money off those upvotes. So I mean, last year, and again, Steemit's gone to shit. Last year, my Steemit account was worth about 20 grand. I could have cashed that out into Bitcoin and then cashed that out into dollars. I sat on all of it, and today my account's worth about $300. So I mean, that shows you how much the stuff can swing. But that is kind of an alternative to YouTube monetization, or if you do a type of content, or if YouTube or somehow someday starts cracking down on video games or the music in the background, here's something that's kind of outside of the control of a central authority. And it's very much so kind of text-based. People seem to be into kind of video games and technology and stuff. So I could see kind of your niche and your audience's kind of niche is kind of doing well on a platform like that if crypto ever kind of comes back into popularity.
Yeah, I never jumped on the crypto bus. I should have, but I never did. I never got on that one. I mean, not now, but back when it was hot.
Right,
I mean,
yeah.
Jesus. That thing was, man, if you were on the breaking front of that, could you imagine? I mean, man, all the money that was made during that. Oh my God.
Wandering brought up something. He said certain niches are filled, but not in all languages, and that's another. There might be a million things in English about something, but there's obviously people on YouTube from all over the world. I got a buddy SparkNote who watches my channel, and I'll occasionally hop on his live streams. And he's from Switzerland. And I don't even know what they speak in Switzerland, but I'll hop on and I don't understand anything that's going on. And occasionally he's nice enough, he'll say, Rules for Rebels stopped in. I know you don't understand anything that's going on, but thanks for stopping by. But yeah, it may be an opportunity to do something in a different language for anybody who's multilingual.
Yeah, if you're multilingual, man, you pretty much got YouTube by the balls. I'm not gonna lie. Because I mean, there's one lady I know, she just started a gaming channel not that long ago, but the fact that she speaks English and Spanish, she's well over 2,000 subs within a couple months because she's catering to both audiences. That's genius. That's smart. Why not use that? And she does. She uses it to her power, and shout out to her for doing that. So
yeah, it's kind of funny. Even though I'm not like super huge into the gaming community, I actually have some of my best-selling shirts are Spanish shirts shirts for gamers in Spanish.
Oh, I believe it. I believe it. There's a lot of Spanish, a lot of Hispanic and Latino people rock with YouTube. They rock with it.
My Spanish sucks, but I want to say it's El Jugador. I think is like the gamer or something like that in Spanish, if I'm not mistaken.
El Jugador. I know we got I think the Phenom. I think Phenom speaks Spanish. If I'm not, I could be wrong. But I know a lot of my subs are Hispanic. A lot of them are. So shout out to those guys rocking with Jackknife Finnegan.
Jay Capola had a good point. He was saying age brackets as well. I hadn't really thought about that, but I like you were saying earlier, a lot of people, a lot of younger people are going to be kind of maybe more attracted to younger gamers, older gamers maybe more, but potentially even if your niche is filled, if you're somebody a different age bracket or appeals to a different audience, that just like with the language, that could potentially be attractive.
Yeah. Phenom. I only speak English, asshole.
Backseat driver said should have moved it all over to Feather. I think he meant Tether, or there's probably an autocorrect. But Tether, there's a lot of concern about Tether being Tether doesn't have money to back all the Tether that they have. They've never to date they've never crashed, but a lot of people were really kind of concerned about that one. Oh, and then Wandering Marine brought up a good point. He said CPM is lower outside of the U.S., and it is one unfortunate thing. If I told you guys my CPM, guys, you wouldn't believe it. People say CPM is like $1 to $2. I've seen people with $40 CPMs. Mine is pretty good as well. See, if you get into the right niche, CPMs can be great. But yeah, I mean, if you're in India or something like that, they don't pay you very well, unfortunately.
Now CPM, what's that? Clicks per minute, or
CPM is it's always really confusing. It's what cost per mil, but mil refers to 1,000. Okay. Was that Greek or whatever? So essentially, when you get off here, if you want to check it out, or you can check out yours and see what it is. It's and YouTube doesn't. You can kind of vaguely talk about it, but you don't really want to show people that number. YouTube sometimes kind of gets a little butthurt about that or whatever. But CPM refers to the cost per 1,000. So basically, for every 1,000 people who see a video ad on your site, that's how much money you make. So most people seem to say average CPM is $1 to $2. I saw a discussion. There's a bunch of Reddit threads where people kind of throw out what their CPM is. A lot of people say like 9. Oh my God, that's so high. But I mean, I know one guy who's got a $39 CPM. I'm over $20. So it can get up there depending on what your niche is.
Nice. Hell yeah. I'll have to check that out.
Wandering Machine said makeup is the best. And going back to that Steemit, obviously hot girls dominate the internet. You know, it's easy to get attention. And there was a girl who hopped on Steemit, did one makeup tutorial and made something like $38,000 off one video post on Steemit at one point. I mean, it was nuts, the amount of money going around on there.
God. What I wouldn't give to be a pretty lady on YouTube.
I was watching this girl the other day, and she was singing and playing the guitar, and she wasn't a bad singer. She wasn't a bad guitar player. She was decent, but she also at the same time wasn't the best guitar player in the world. And she had millions of views, and it didn't hurt that she had her triple Ds hanging out there on her guitar solos or whatever. But yeah. If you got some sexy yoga pants, it's definitely helpful in getting a following.
Well, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take that in consideration. Next live stream, I'm gonna wear some sexy yoga pants and watch everybody not show up.
You made me think. I don't know if you ever got into prank channels, but I remember there's some guy who it's a man and he wears yoga pants and he'll like bend over.
Oh no!
And then when guys check him out, he'll turn around and be like, "What's up, bro?"
That'd be hilarious. Oh my God. I can only imagine, like, I'd be like wearing that and everyone would leave the chat except for that one creepy guy who doesn't say nothing. He's just sitting in the background lurking on the live chat. I'm like, what the hell's going on here? Oh shit.
Low. I know, just people saying thumbnail. Yeah, thumbnails are a big. I got to spend more time on my thumbnails. I'm kind of lazy with thumbnails.
Yeah, thumbnails are a son of a bitch. They do carry a lot of weight, though. They do carry a lot of weight. They really do. Shout out to you guys watching. I appreciate you guys watching. Shout out to the 16 people watching. Make sure you guys hit that like button. I greatly appreciate that. And if you guys are new to the channel, make sure you guys drop subs. I greatly appreciate that, you guys. Thank you guys for tuning in.
You know what? I'm going to put together a partnership deal. Flippin' Hustler says, I sell yoga pants with Flippin' Hustler right on the right butt cheek. So Flippin' Hustler, send a pair of those yoga pants out to Finnegan here. And next episode should be pretty interesting.
Oh, my God. I can only imagine. We'd have the internet going viral.
Who'd have thought we'd line up a brand deal on here?
That's hilarious. Oh my God. And I would be the type to actually wear those and not care. That's what's sad. That's what scares me. Is the shit that I would do on YouTube would scare anybody.
Well, you know, to tell these guys, you were telling me yesterday about a guy, what you said he put up one video of his face while pooping. And
oh my God, I know. Dude, there's this guy, right? I'm on YouTube one night. I was just going through the rabbit hole of YouTube and I was tired. And somehow, some way, I came across this guy, and he literally, it's him standing there with the phone like this up to his face, and he's taking a pic, like a photo, like a recording of him pooping, and he's like that on camera. And the dude had over 3 million views. He had over like 100,000 or more subscribers, and that was all of his content. And I'm like, what? I could do that. I'm not going to do that, but I could do that. But what the hell? I mean, but I can't find it for the life of me, and I'm scared to look it up. But there's literally a guy, and he's like, and I'm like, what the fuck? Like, why? Why? But he did it, and it worked. So,
do you remember the viral guy on Instagram who would every day he would rip these like really long farts, and he would record himself on Instagram, and he was a security guard like in some building. He'd be like, and you hear, and somehow it got to his employer, and I think it might have been around Christmas time. They actually fired him from his job because of his viral fart Instagram following.
That's funny. Well, what do you do? Well, what I do is I fart on camera. Listen to these beauties. Check these out. Let's
see. I watched some strange guy. He drinks old sodas. That is a whole niche community. I had I had a guy by the name of Nick the Smoker. Actually, he's local to me, so we were talking a little bit about this. But he came on my channel on Monday. We did an in-person interview. But I seen on his channel, he'll do. I think he smoked like a 60-year-old cigarette on one of his. So yeah, it's kind of eating or smoking kind of old things seems to be. I think anything that tortures somebody, people like to watch for whatever reason.
Oh, dude, drama sells, man. Drama sells. I'm gonna go let my dogs in real quick. I gotta get my phone charged. My phone's gonna die.
Well, you want to should we start wrapping it? We'll have to do it again sometime. But you want to start wrapping this up? You got to start getting ready to go to work.
Well, yeah. We can wrap it up. It's not a. Yeah, let me let my dogs in real quick. Yeah, I mean, we can wrap it up, and then we could do it again. Some other. Oh, yeah, let the other dog in. Jesus. I don't want to go. It's tough. One thing that I hate when I leave live streams is when we have people watching. I hate leaving them, but yeah, we can leave it, and then hopefully, hopefully people come. Anybody in the chat right now, if you guys don't mind in the chat, if you guys would like to see more things like this, with Jackknife Finnegan and Rules for Rebels, let us know in the chat, you guys, if this is something that you guys would be interested in. Maybe seeing more of this in the future type live streams. Let us know, because we don't know what you guys want unless you tell us. You know what I'm saying? Let us know what you guys think. If this is something you're down to, have us come on and just shoot the shit and hang out with you guys. I mean, let us know, honestly, what you guys think. Because, I mean, you guys are the viewers. You guys are what matters. So let us know if this is something you guys are into.
Yeah, if you guys are down, I'm definitely down. Because yeah, it's we had a great chat. We were on here on a private one yesterday, chatting for a while, and yeah, it's been enjoyable. So yeah, if you guys are down, I'm definitely down.
I stayed here the whole time, never got bored once. I like hearing stuff like that, Phenom. That's awesome. That means a lot, man. Honestly, it does. Well, I mean, everyone's saying yeah, so that's good. I like that. That's awesome. Hell
Yeah,
yeah.
if you guys are down, I'm down.
I mean, because there's tons of things we could talk about. Believe me. I mean, my phone's dying, but I mean, shit, we could keep going.
Oh, I think.
Oh, there, I'm back. I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, yesterday we were off on a bunch of we were talking travel yesterday and a whole bunch of other stuff. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff to go over.
Oh yeah, there's all types of things that we could do. Easy.
See, y'all want to abandon us.
Well, wait. I don't want to go. My phone is literally on 9% right now. 9%.
We were talking. It's amazing how time flies. Well, we hopped on here at 11 to 12, 12 to 1 to see. Yeah, we've been going for about 3 hours here. Yeah, it's amazing how time flies.
Holy hell, that is crazy. Wow. But yeah, let me go get my phone charger here so I can say goodbye to everybody, so my phone doesn't die, because I don't want to leave you guys in the dust. So bear with me 1 minute.
I thought we lost you there.
Yeah, hang on 1 second. Let me get my phone charger real quick.
I was talking to Jackknife. It was kind of interesting. I know he's mainly mainly going through his Xbox and his phone, and I'm kind of more. I'm the opposite. I always like doing everything on the computer, but I've been getting interested in maybe doing more live streams on the phone and in the car and on the go. Thanks, Phenom. It was it was nice meeting you. I know we chatted a little bit yesterday in Jackknife's room, and yeah, it's awesome that you guys kind of work together. You kind of help manage the room and keep the convo going. So it's always nice. Flippin' Hustler, cool to meet y'all. I'm going live when you are done. I'll check you out, Flippin' Hustler. I'm actually. Let me see if I can subscribe.
Just getting set up, guys. Sorry.
Flippin' Hustler. I'm gonna go sub to him right now.
Yeah, I'll definitely have to check out Flippin' Hustler, see what he's got going on his side of the fence. This was a great interview. Thank you, Phenom. I appreciate that.
Okay, yeah, just found Flippin' Hustler. Just sub to him. He said he's going to be going live here in a little bit.
Yeah, I'll definitely pop over there and see what you got going on at Flippin' Hustler.
First auction hall.
Jackknife is a beast. I appreciate that, Brandon. Thank you, brother. Appreciate you guys coming over, rocking with us today, you guys.
Yeah, thank you everybody for stopping. And yeah, Flipping Hustler, man, he's got a lot of stuff on here.
Yeah, I seen that. Yeah, I took a quick browse over his channel when we were talking, and I was impressive
Oh,
to
he's got
see
some
what he had
stuff with
going on.
his detail shop.
What
Got
up,
those.
Unprotectable? I see you. Yeah, he's got a lot of stuff going on, and that's good. That's the type of guy we need to talk to and see what he's got going on his side of the fence. But yeah, this has been really fun. I enjoyed talking with you. It's been really good. It's been a good time. It's been fun. It's been engaging. I think a lot of people could take a lot of things from this. Because you come from the business entrepreneur side. I do a little bit of that. I mean, we touched on a lot of topics, and it was very good. It was very fun. So
Brandon wants to know you going to be streaming later?
Probably not. I might do a live stream later and just touch base on this interview, see what my people thought about it. Maybe, I don't know, but I do gotta go to work tonight, you guys. I don't want to, but I got to, so I have to work tonight. So probably not. But I know I might, Brandon. I don't know. I might jump on for a minute. I don't know. I don't know. Don't hold me to it. I don't know. I get addicted when we got 18 people watching. It's so hard to say goodbye. It's so hard. You see, because I come from the live stream aspect. When I see people in there, it's so hard to leave. You know what I mean? It's
Yoshi's
so
back.
hard.
Well, it's
Hey,
been kind of fun with this. I'm relatively new, despite having done YouTube for a couple years. You could probably count the number of live streams I've done on one hand, maybe two. So it's nice kind of getting some more experience with the live stream with somebody else as opposed to having to kind of carry the whole conversation myself and everything. So yeah, I'm definitely glad you kind of brought me out of my shell, and I definitely like to start doing more of these live streams.
yeah, these live streams are really cool, and I think it's awesome because it's engaging. You and I get to know one another, they get to know us, and that's what makes for a healthy relationship. You know what I'm saying? And it's awesome. It's really good. It's fun. And then once in a while, maybe we'll do a live stream where we just do all the chat. You know what I mean? Where
Right.
we take questions from the chat and just have a good time doing that. And I mean, there's so many avenues we could do down this road. You know what I mean?
Happy birthday, Brandon. Looks like Brandon King Mod got his birthday today.
Oh, happy birthday, bro! Hell yeah! I think Brandon King Mod. God, I don't want to throw his other, but I want to say he's from Australia, but I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it, but I think he's from Australia. So, shout out to Brandon King Mod.
See, backseat driver. I'll email later. Yeah, backseat driver. If you want to talk about the Uber thing, I think the gig economy is kind of an interesting one. So yeah, I know some of the people who watch my channel are interested in that. Wandering Marine could maybe do a live stream with anyone MRE reviewer. I had not thought of that. Yeah, definitely get some MRE reviews out there. I think that'd be, especially if you want to do some gross old ones or some gross MREs. I think that would go over really well.
Where the hell would we get our hands on some MREs? Does anybody know where we get our hands on these things?
I got a military surplus store a couple blocks over from me. Maybe I have to take a ride over there, see if they got anything from like the Vietnam era. It still hasn't been opened.
Oh my God. Don't get sick, man. Don't get sick. Oh my God. That's the last thing we want to see is Rules for Rebels getting sick on the live stream trying to do some MREs. I'll be like, oh my God.
eBay. Oh yeah, he's
eBay.
probably. I bet you probably can get some on eBay.
Yoshi, buy some up and send them over here. Oh shit. That's funny. Oh man, you guys are awesome, man. Thank you guys so much for rocking with me. I'm probably gonna be getting off here in a little bit, but I appreciate you guys rocking with Rules for Rebels, rocking with me. Getting to know me, getting to know Rules for Rebels. It's awesome that we had cross audiences. You know what I mean? It was a pleasure meeting Jay Coppola. Appreciate you guys, man. Flipping Hustler, I'm glad we ran across you. That's awesome.
Looks like we got some vintage MREs from like the 50s. Applesauce.
Oh
What
God,
are some of these other things?
applesauce from the 50s. Oh, that's like it's
Corned
damn near
beef.
seven.
Corned beef hash from 1980. Oh, corned beef hash, ham slices from 1984.
Oh, God, could you imagine, dude? That applesauce is 70 years old. Can you imagine that? Oh my God, it's already lumpy. How lumpy does it get after 70 years? Oh my God, does it like regurgitate back into an apple
Right.
after 70 years?
Apple jelly spread. Yeah, there's some gross stuff on here.
Oh,
I
oh
ate a
my
20.
God.
The Wandering Marine said he ate some 23-year-old food on his video. I wonder how disgusting they are, because I noticed nowadays people are selling a lot of like the preppers are selling a lot of dehydrated food and stuff that's supposedly good for what, 50 for 100 years. So maybe this stuff lasts longer. I don't know. The Phenom vegetarian omelet. Yuck.
Oh my God, that does sound disgusting. That's funny.
Avoid the vegetarian omelet. Cheaper than dirt. Oh,
Freeze.
Jay Couple was talking about cheaper than dirt. Yeah, I think I used to buy. I want to say I used to buy ammo on cheaper than dirt. The food
That's
stores that
crazy.
can last 20 years.
God. Can you imagine drinking milk that's 30 years old? Ah!
I got this weird thing for whatever reason. I don't drink milk. Years ago, I got grossed out by milk. I don't know what it was, but the only milk I drink is I'll put cream in my coffee, but outside of that, I only drink coconut milk.
Nothing wrong with that, because I could see how milk could gross you out, because it does get a little sketchy once in a while.
Military is not too much freeze dried. It's still hydrated.
Interesting.
They do have good ammo prices, especially for higher calibers. Yeah, I think we used to buy, I don't know, like AK ammo or something off of there. We got kind of a cool, it sounds like Yoshi shoots. We got a cool range out here by me called Buffalo Range. And it's, man, the place is huge. It's like an adult theme park if you're into shooting. They got a 50-yard rifle range, 100-yard rifle range, pistol range. Yeah, Chicago Flag AG. They got this one area called the Plinking Pit, which is almost like a rock quarry. And you can bring an old refrigerator and throw it down, or you can throw pumpkins down there. They'll let you rapid fire shoot, which most ranges don't. Yeah, really, really cool place. Buffalo shooting range, if anyone's in the Chicago area. It's out in Ottawa. There's a good root beer hamburger joint and a good strip club down the road, too, if you find your way out there.
Nice. And then also, just so you guys know, Phenom and Yoshi, before me and Rules and Rebels got on here, I asked him if he had any mods. He said he did not. So I told him to add the Phenom and Yoshi as mods. And, my dogs are barking. But big shout out to you guys holding it down for being mods on the channel today. I greatly appreciate having you guys aboard. Thank you. Go outside. There, go outside. Outside.
AG. So yeah, it sounds like AG's from Chicago or Chicago area. I actually had another fellow Chicago YouTuber on with me on Monday, Nick the Smoker. We did an in-person interview, which was kind of neat. So I'll probably hook up with him sometime again in the future. I'm not sure where you're from, but I think I'm actually going to be heading out to get some crisp wings out in Edgewater later. So I don't know if you've tried them, but that's some good stuff.
Damn, I want some wings.
Wandering Marine asks, "What do mods?" So, mods just they kind of moderate the chat. So if someone comes in and starts talking crazy or something like that, they can kind of silence them.
Yeah. Hey, what up, your friendly otaku? What's up, brother? Appreciate
Thanks
the
for
like.
the like, buddy. South suburbs. That's yeah, I got a lot of family in the South suburbs. And Nick's from kind of the same general area. We were actually we were talking Junior's hot dogs, AAG773. I don't know if you're familiar with Junior's hot dogs out your way.
Hell yeah. South burbs. Go Bears. Unfortunately, their season came to an end, which bums me out. But what's up? You know, whatever.
Let's see, you throw people off being a Bears fan. When I heard you talking about the Bears the other day, I was like, oh, I'm like, this dude's from right around me.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm a bear. Well, I was born in Illinois. But we moved to Winona, Minnesota at a young age. So I'm a Bears fan, and then obviously I came to Minnesota, and I'm like, I can't get down with the Minnesota Vikings. These guys are an embarrassment. And
I think
then
you said
Jay
you still got some
Cutler.
you still got some family in the area. You said, right?
Yeah, I got family out in Illinois. Yeah, Chicago. So out in the area. I went to Chicago. Yeah, Winona, Minnesota. Yep, that's where I was born. Or not born. That's where I moved to. I was born in Illinois, and then I moved to Winona, Minnesota with my ma, because my dad was incarcerated. So that's what happened on that side of the fence. But yeah, you know, but I got family out in Chicago. Good times. I just went out to Chicago in June or July. I went in Chicago. I was in Chicago for a couple days, and I vlogged that as well. So that was pretty cool.
Hey, next time you'll have to hit me up. Next time you come down this way, maybe get together in
Hell,
person and do something.
hell yeah, dude. Shit, yeah, we'll go have like a bar type, a real life bar live stream.
There's there's a good Mexican place out here that we go to a lot of times, you know, after some of the other bars and stuff shut down, and they do karaoke until like 6 in the morning.
Holy
And that's
shit!
always kind of the late nights. But I think it's called El Veloz on I don't know, Chicago Avenue, Grand Avenue, something like that. But yeah, that's kind of a fun late night spot.
Interesting. Yeah, I wouldn't mind trying that. Yoshi. We asked earlier in the live stream if people would be down to see, you know, Jackknife Finnegan Rules for Rebels talking again in the future on live stream. A lot of people said yes, and I was just curious to know what you thought, because I know you're an intelligent individual, and I just wanted to know what you thought about it. I'm glad you guys hung out on the stream and came through, and I much appreciate it. So I visit Winona. Yeah, you should. I'm doing traveling around the U.S. You'll go to Winona and be like, "Oh my God, why'd I come here?"
What
But
wandering? You got you got yourself a school bus or a van or something? That's something that I've looked into in the past. Is just kind of doing a traveling thing. I saw Wandering said he's going to be traveling around the U.S. I was wondering if he built himself like a van dwelling van or something.
hell yeah, that'd be the way to go. Hell yeah.
There's a funny YouTuber I kind of like. His name's D2 Vlogs or Dave2 Vlogs. He kind of makes fun of a lot of the really kind of fake YouTubers. You know, the ones who their van dwelling is like some hot girl's butt all the time or whatever. He does some really good roast videos that are pretty funny of a lot of the van dwellers.
I have to check those out. I have to check them out. Yeah, Q&A live.
Marine says he normally does international.
Nice. Well, man, it's been fun, but I do gotta wrap it up. I do got things I gotta go. I gotta get my kids at school here, but I definitely wanted to revisit this again if we could.
Yeah, absolutely. If you guys are down, I'd love to have Jackknife on again, or I know he's got the podcast going. I was going to get one rolling as well. So yeah, thank you everybody for hanging with us. This was kind of a long one, but it was fun today. So yeah, if you guys are down for this, we would love to do it again. And thank you everybody for being part of the conversation and hanging out.
Yeah, appreciate you guys. You have a good one. Thank you guys for tuning in. I will see you guys on YouTube.
Later, guys.